In hatred and divided. God damn it. This piece of machine had to fuck right on up. You bloody bastard. Turn the fuck right back on. You bloody bastard. There we go. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious.
For a year.
Whoa. Oops. Yeah, right back. There. You know what? Look and stare, Paul. It's in the background.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
United in bloodthirst is right.
United in the
and I was not free of that. I had it too. Country Road has so much more feeling than Sweet Home Alabama. Two different types of song. And Country Roads is like a straight out nature ballad, and Sweet Home Alabama is like a down home song. You know? Two different vibes. Not all country is the same. You know? I mean, now it is kind of like modern country is shit, but country music as a historical look is different. When did the paranoia of your fellow man start? 9/11, 2001, bro. The kids on leashes. Everybody's got cameras all over their house now. Shit.
Kids on a leash.
Like after 9/11, bro. People were broken by that fear. Like people felt true fear for the first time in their lives. We were so privileged in America.
I'm not gonna lie, my childhood was unironically kind of like that.
And there's all this fucking
Had to be a freak on a leash.
You guys remember the anthrax shit? Where anthrax was being mailed to people? People were dying of anthrax, and we thought it was all fucking Al Qaeda doing it. It was ended up being some wacky fucking professor that went nuts. You guys remember that shit?
I do. Dude, my mom was a paranoid psycho when it came to shit like this. After 9/11, she was legit like paranoid nutter.
And now look at the end result of that. You've got like whole
definitely nuts.
People that are doing like pedo hunter communities.
Who end up being pedos themselves.
Prosecute a predator off of a pedo hunt that you did ad hoc. So you're basically just like giving these guys a heads up that they could get caught by the cops and maybe slapping them around a little bit. Like, wow, what a punishment. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it's led to. Everybody thinks that, like, every human being, like, dude, what happens on Halloween? Where you guys are at, Americans. I don't care about it. Non-Americans right now. Americans. Do you guys get the same shit that we get around here? Where it's like 2 or 3 kids and then a parent with a flashlight? Like,
sometimes. Here in the PNW, it's sometimes later in the evening. That tends to be the case, but after like 10 o'clock, usually the parents make their little kids go home. And then the older kids and teenagers tend to stay out a little longer. But yes, it's absolutely like that. And stupid.
That didn't used to be a thing. My little ass ran all over the fucking extended neighborhood, doing pranks.
Same with me.
Candy, doing crazy shit.
When I was a kid growing up, like my dad would like kind of like ride his bike up and down a block a little bit, just kind of like making sure me and my little friend group was chill, but he never like stuck around with me. He just kind of rode up and down the block, just some, see if there was any other kids. Be like, hey, you want to join there's a group up here, and it seems like there's a bunch of houses. Like he'll almost be like a scout. He'll kind of like roll back and be like, hey, there's a few houses over here, and there's and like stuff like that. So he was almost like kind of guiding us to some good spots. And in fact, he knew some houses that were some good spots, and he always would try to guide us to some of those places depending on how like good the route was. So my dad was actually kind of a G, when it came to that shit. He never did it for like watching us. He just kind of did it to hook us up so then we could get like the most bang for buck when it came to our candy bags. Mainly because he knew that my mom would want to like get the tax and start taxing us about like, hey, or at least me, taxing us about like, hey, what do you got in here? It's like, because I called dibs on this and this and this, and I'm just like, oh my god. Mama, this is my stuff. I rightfully earned it. You take everything, once
want to
I'm
know the
done
fucking
eating.
joke of it? My parents let me run the streets at a time where crime was actually spiking. The 90s were blood-soaked, bro. Like, there was a real violent crime epidemic in the fucking 80s and 90s. And parents still realized that it was a statistically small factor that your kid was going to get fucking kidnapped on Halloween or some shit.
Because
Now,
that doesn't
violent
happen.
crime's down, sharp. But everybody acts like it's up.
It's like more crime than ever
Somebody wants to
nowadays.
kill my kid. Huh?
Crazy shit might happen. Is this person doing something suspicious? That's how I kind of feel like my shit at work a little bit. It's like, hey, this guy's slacking and doing something that's a little suspicious to us. They might be stealing. So, gotta be a helicopter. Gotta be a nanny and be a watchdog and shit. It's so fucking stupid. And that's when crime is actually at a low.
Statistically, the paranoia is not warranted today. Kids should be running around with more freedom.
It's
than
nowhere
I have,
near
not
warranted.
less. There should be less parental fear of your kid.
Honestly, I would say that there needs to just be like this fucking off of this shit. It's like, oh, hey, what are you doing? This and that, blah, blah, blah. It's like, man, shut the fuck up. Like, go away. I mean, it's like, leave your own kids to deal with their shit. And honestly, if they're acting like a fucking nuisance and a piece of shit, that's on you as a parent anyway, because, you should be, all in all, understanding what their behavior is. And if they're doing this repeated type of shit, you ought to be disciplining them. Like, I mean, if someone comes back, after, you find out that your kid's been, like, acting out and shit, then that's your responsibility. Like, if you found out your kid was fucking around and finding out and, like, got in a fight with some adult over stupid shit because they want to do, like, some TikTok shit, then, that's their fault and, the parent's fault, not the person that's, fucking around, making them fuck around and found out.
Abducted or diddled or shot to death than there was when I was a kid. And there's more. Kids should be autonomous by the time they're like 12 during the day. They could ride their bikes around the neighborhood, go to the park, go to a friend's house and not have to check in every 3 seconds. They didn't have a fucking Apple tag on them. So you could track them. Is he crossing the street? No! That shit's wild. What kind of kids do you think that makes?
Not very socially
Your parents are like
behaving
helicoptering
kids.
you your whole life. They put you on a leash.
Took off.
A literal fucking leash when you were a toddler. They don't let you hang out with your friends unless they're looking over your fucking shoulder. Put an Apple tag on you so they can fucking track you. Huh? What do you think that does to kids? You think it's like to be raised by a paranoiac? It ain't good.
Ugh. Nor does it really honestly, attribute to really good social behaviors either. Like, I mean, especially when you're, like, kind of, like, leashing a helicopter parenting, like, your kid all the fucking time. Or just not letting them, like, just be doing their own thing and, like, experiencing and learning shit. Just via, like, quote, street smart / like, just social smart shit. Then, yeah, they're, the more likely you'll just say fuck and let them do that, the less likely they're going to learn ahead of time to realize that maybe you shouldn't be doing certain shit. Or maybe certain behaviors aren't cool, but some are. And it's like, it should just be basic parent 101 shit. Because at least, especially after 9/11, like, my mom definitely was a lot more overprotective, but I was at least, still, even despite that, able to go run around the neighborhood, do my own thing. She just like, all right, as long as you're down, back home by sunset and shit like that.
Think about how much kids cost today. I'll be protecting investment too. I guess that's a good point. But it's not like kids were cheap back in the day. This idea that everything was just free back in the day just fucking pisses me off. Yeah, I know inflation is up. I know wages are stagnant. I know it's worse now than when I was a kid. But let's not pretend shit was cheap. It wasn't.
Nah. If anything, a lot of shit was pretty hella expensive back in the day. There's honestly certain things these days are actually pretty hella cheap in comparison to a lot of stuff. Like back in the day, TVs and shit used to cost like pretty penny. Nowadays, like you can get a pretty nice, decent little TV, like a 32-inch or some shit for like $300 or something like that. Almost use it like a monitor screen for like a computer or something. So, I mean, like a lot of these TVs are actually like relatively cheap in comparison to what they used to back in the day. This is one example, but despite that, obviously a lot of things like groceries, rent, etc., are way the fuck up. So people are spending money more on that type of shit and not so much on things like TVs and shit. So now those are being like in a way marked down a lot. So then people are a little bit more likely to maybe buy stuff like that because it's now at least a little more affordable in comparison to everything else, which is insane. Doggo. Hey, wait. Butt mush. You big goober. Do you not like these pizzle sticks? You don't seem to eat them. You left this one from last night. Do you want these? Come on, bud. Come here, get it. Yeah. Go get it. Oh my god, what a goof. What a ball of malarkey. What a ball of malarkey Zukov is. And he closed the door in the lunchroom. Goofy thing. Where'd Paul go? Oh, there he is. About to be like, where the hell did Paul go? Because of his little talk on parenting kids and shit. It's just like, hey.
Up of water. Anybody else all about water now that like Neo is a thing? Am I the only person that's addicted to Neo?
Yes.
You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Neo.
Little flavor drops, squirt things.
Put a little squirt in there, and it makes you like a lemonade or like a fruit punch.
I'm not about those things really. I just get vitamin waters. It's the same thing, but vitamins.
Dude, I drink pretty much nothing but fucking water now because of Neo, bro.
Meal fiend over here, dude.
I do a little squirt of lemonade and a squirt of fucking fruit punch, and I make myself like it's like a fruit punch lemonade. That's what I got right here.
Bro, that sounds a little.
Ice. I have a whole tray, whole ice tray, in my big ass thing, bro. This right here is heaven.
Dude, that actually does low-key sound like some heaven, though.
The best flavor, fruit punch and lemonade. I just told you. Black cherry is good. Pomegranate is good.
Black cherry.
The rest of them are kind of ass.
Shit, I kind of wanna do that now. Pop some Mios, dude. Mm.
Might as well be drinking Crystal Light. I mean, yeah, pretty much.
See, that's why I just do vitamin waters, because also you can mix those too. Like if you drink a little bit of one and drink a little bit of another, then mix them together, dude. You can make kind of like a little combo drink out of that. That like, and also the cool thing is you could kind of like combine the flavors and maybe like make kind of a weird mixture flavor of some sort, like a mystery blend almost. It makes some kind of cool colors too. But some of the colors look a little bunk, not even gonna lie. Just because like when you mix like red or yellow, it kind of has this like really weird color to it.
Don't go all the way. Oh, fuck, bro.
Oh, brain freeze moment.
Close. Ooh, that was very close to being over the top. Too cold.
Ooh.
What's the temperature? It's probably like 85, I would guess right now. 84.
For me, a nice little cold brewski is doing pretty well, but at least it ain't going to give me a brain freeze.
It's been like this since I was a little kid. I guess it's different for everybody. When I get brain freeze, it's right behind this eye. It's like somebody took an ice pick.
Dude, that's how it is for me. Oh my god. Dude, that's literally what a fucking brain freeze is for me. Like, it's always like right here behind, but also like somehow above my eye. It's like always right there. And maybe sometimes it'll do the same thing over here, but it's always the fucking right eye, dude. What the fuck?
I'm in there and then so it's like right here and it goes. It's like this whole side of my face just like, oh my god, my eye will start watering.
Dude, I don't even know how, but I'm feeling one right now. It's like a placebo. It's like I'm feeling a placebo brain freeze.
And you can feel it building. And when it goes full on, dude, when you just lose it, there's nothing you can do to ride it out, bro. It's just like
Yeah.
excruciating pain.
Yeah, just have to ride the wave.
Yeah, see, it's different for everybody, man. It's a path that it takes or whatever through your sinus network and shit is different, and the pain expresses in different spots. I learned that shit because I used to think everybody got it behind one eye, and then my mom, I remember I got brain freeze drinking a Slurpee or something when I was a kid. She's like, "Why are you holding your eye?" I was like, "I got brain freeze."
Yeah.
It's like, "Your eye hurts?" It's like, "Yeah."
I honestly thought that's how it always happened. I always thought maybe it like cycled, a little bit, but like when you get a brain freeze, I always thought it was like right behind the eyes. It just sometimes it'll hit one side harder than the other. That's what I thought. I guess it really does hit differently for everyone.
Everybody gets it differently. I get my back always hurts, so maybe maybe I don't notice the back part. It's just in the head, dude. It feels like I said, like somebody stuffed an ice pick in your brain.
It can happen to your spine too. Spine freeze.
God, fuck. It sucks.
Spine freeze, dude. Whoa.
You feel it in your liver. You feel it right between your eyes. Yeah.
A liver freeze? Whoa.
Dude, I saw Nuggy trying to explain that other subreddit, like how not to get banned in here. It was so funny. It was so funny hearing somebody try and describe the nonsensical rule set over here, bro.
What the fuck?
Nuggy was trying, though. She was over there like, yeah, if you don't want to get banned, you pretty much gotta, like, I'll learn to read the guy's moods, because if you don't, you're probably gonna get banned,
It really is just mood reading. It's just vibe check. Yo, vibe check it. Like, is he salty? Then don't be dumb. If he's a little jovious and chilling, then you could be a little dumb, but don't push it. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where you have to read the room basically unironically. And he says it too. It's not like he doesn't tell people. I just don't think people actually get. You have to, like, legit just see what his mood is. You can't just go in there thinking, oh, yeah. It's like his mood ain't neutral, like, constantly. You know what I mean? Same thing for me, too. Sometimes I might be in a salty mood and kind of want to pop.
Funny, bro. By the way, just
it kind of was earlier this morning.
No ban is ever permanent here. That's only true here. But yeah, I don't tell people when, but I always flush my ban list. So it's always just a fucking timeout, basically. Sometimes it's a long timeout. I don't do it like 9 times a year. There's no such thing as a perma ban here. That's why I hand them out so freely, because I know I'm just gonna undo them at some point. So it's really not that big a deal.
Too bad YouTube makes it really fucking hard.
It's true though. I mean, it's kind of hard to fucking. My moods are mercurial in the way that I feel about doing this. It's like tonight. You guys are safer than fuck tonight. I am not feeling vindictive or angsty. Like, even the people that are spamming in here, I'm not calling them out and being like, hey, mods, get that spammer, get to kill that motherfucker. I don't care. I'm just very much like fucking. And Nuggy probably would have told you that because Nuggy knows. So was watching her try and explain it to that other subreddit and shit. It was just funny because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense logically, but it makes sense if you know what you're dealing with over here. Like if you've watched a Paul stream or 2 or 3.
I've been watching them long enough to just know that. I mean, it really is mood dependent. So I just called my ass out for being like, the fuck, bro. But that's because over the years I've learned how to like just read the room and temper it and stuff and just be chill. And if anything, he's just been like, I even asked him a question about like, what song would you recommend for a karaoke? Because it wasn't like, what's your favorite kind of thing. I was just like, just hit me with something. I don't really care what, just anything. And he hit me with that Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot, and I was like, fuck. Like, and he had a whole setup for it, too. But I was just like, well, I'm too much of a no quantity for the way he's wanting to set it up. So I'm just going to be like, well, fuck it. I'll just do it anyway. And I did. And hey, got chicks over, and, got a little peck on the cheek about that, so I don't know. I think it worked.
Most of the time,
I won't say complete wick dip, but I would say the process has begun, I suppose you could say.
Paul's pretty chill recently, especially here, where I don't feel the need for everything to be a big performance. I just kind of talk. Not that everything has to be a big performance on my podcast, but it's more performative, right? I do my shirt ripping off shit.
Fucking going like full rage mode.
Here, I don't put as much emphasis on that, but you get to see my real-time mood. Like earlier today, before I took that long nap this afternoon, I was in a and the last couple of days, honestly, I've just been in a real sour fucking mood, and it's so hard for me to get out when I get into one like that. But it was so much different than my sour moods used to be, like in terms of 2-3 years ago, where it was always, I was in a sour mood every fucking day. It was just a struggle not to be sour. Last couple of days, I've just been like, I think it's stress at the end of the shooting schedule. Just had a long ass fucking gauntlet last night, shit today. So, and then I've been signing all those fucking things. I just feel like I've been just like inundated and swamped lately. But that's a lot of that is just a function of it being.
Yeah, don't overwork yourself. And you know what? When it comes to signing our Blu-rays, don't, come on. Especially for me, I've been a patient bee about it.
We've really, over the years we've been doing this. How many years have we been doing the show? 7 or 6? Over the 6 years we've been doing the show, we've really kind of figured out that we need a content schedule that allots for a significant amount of time off between long shooting schedules. We've landed on every 4 to 5 weeks, depending on the month, length of the month, and how much of the year is left, right? Every 4 to 5 to 6 weeks, we take a week off. When I say a week off, I mean just we don't do our main show shit. We prepare some pre-recorded stuff for our patrons during that week, and none of us do our main show shit. I'll be streaming out here probably on my week off, but I don't do this.
Of course you will, Paul.
Content. I do this as a free time filler, and it's adjacent to my content. But I've always enjoyed this. I've always enjoyed just talking and streaming and telling stories, and so I don't do this for money. And so it's just a pastime.
It's still warm as fucking here. Ugh.
This stream, but the other shit we don't do. And then if I'm gonna travel, that's when we travel usually.
Oh man, there needs to be a way to get this garage cooler. Fuck. It's absurd.
The world would be a better place if we all got a week off every month of work. Yeah, I think so.
Fuck. Oh my god, that just feels so goddamn good to think about.
That's one of the liberating things about starting your own business.
Dude, it's just like,
a certain point,
bruh, I mean, especially for these big ass corporations, it's not like they couldn't be able to do something like that. It's like you get maybe half, like a half wage or some shit, during the week off period. But the week on period is just your regular wage kind of thing or something or whatever. I don't know. Like, something like that. That'd be so fucking nice, bro. Holy shit. Like, I feel like, with something like that, I'd just be able to, legit, kind of, chill, maybe, use, that week to hyper-focus on various different things I would want to do. Like, I mean, that would just be legitimately, actually, unironically kind of liberating. I wouldn't mind, working 6 days a week, for 3 weeks if it meant that I get, one nice fat fucking week off, dude.
Creation business, you can create things during your work weeks that come out during your off weeks.
Yeah, for a while you had 3 weeks on, 2 weeks off, but you were doing everything pre-recorded pretty much.
Right. So we and that just wasn't the direction our content needed to go.
Yeah.
So we changed it up, switched it up to a more live stream.
People couldn't even really tell because.
Right. Well, I mean, people could tell, but we didn't announce every little thing. We just did it. That's why, I'll say this thing that's kind of antagonistic, but as a content creator, people don't know what you want until you tell them what it is. My job as a content creator is not to give you what you think you want; it's to give you what I know you want. Right? Because if all I did was cater to what exactly you want, I would be sitting here talking about Brett Keane with five fucking people.
That
Right? If I listened to what everybody said for me to do, I would be doing fucking Drunken Peasants till the end of time and talking about Gailport Schuler till the end of time.
oh
Talking
god.
about this new batch of fucking lol cows till the end of time till my eyes bled. Because that's exactly what people wanted me to do with my business.
I still
And I
don't
didn't
really
listen
get
to a
why there were
single
so
one
many
of them.
people into that stupid shit. Like, it's why I just don't even bother watching DP anymore. And to the point where I'm just like, I don't even really know why I'm subscribed, honestly, at this rate. Because I'll even get notifications sometimes. I mean, I think every now and then when I have a screen up, will pop up every now and then. And it's like, it's just literally just the same, like, oh, JSF Cobra or whatever, or some shit. It's like, why do I give a fuck? Like, I mean, because who gives a shit? Like, honestly. Like, I mean, it's just, to me, I just find it fundamentally fucking stupid and rote. And honestly, like, unironic, like, brain rot shit. Like, I mean, at this point, I just don't fucking understand it. If people are into brain rot like that, then fine, whatever. I don't fucking care.
I listen to myself.
It's honestly
I
one of those
listen to
things where I
friends.
just, like, I legitimately don't have really any interest. I've tried to tap into it a few times. I just don't, because I just think it's fucking brain rot shit.
Also my business owner, my
And a lot of the fucking people that watch it honestly enable it, so they're no fucking better, honestly.
owners. And we made what we wanted to make. We've continued to do it too. The game changes on YouTube, we change up the show. The game changes in our personal lives, we change up the show. The game changes in general, we change up the show. We don't ask people for permission. We don't really take a whole lot of feedback on it. We might bring feedback that we've heard a bunch of times into it. I'm not saying it's never considered, but we're not looking for a game plan from other people. We're business owners. We do what we think is right for us and for you, and that's our job. I mean, if it was the job of a content creator to do exactly what you wanted, you would have never gotten any Kubrick films. You would have never gotten any Hitchcock films. You know what I mean? Hitchcock would have just had to remake, Rear Window over and over again. He never would have gotten to explore, the paranoia of Vertigo. You know what I mean? The fucking terror of the birds, right? Like he never would have been able to like spread his wings from his early work. He just would have remade Rope, and that would have been that. But he gave people what they didn't know they wanted yet, and kept them from
I
getting
mean, to be
bored
fair,
with
like when
work.
it comes to like movies in Hollywood, that's a whole different dynamic in comparison to
So if you
streaming.
think that like there's this real idea that because now everybody's a social media thing, everybody's got a little presence that like your feedback matters. I'm not telling you it doesn't, but the extent to which a lot of people think that a person in my position ought to take feedback is super overblown. Super. You make content by committee, nobody's gonna fucking respect you and nobody's gonna want to watch you because you never challenge them. They will tell you to do what they want until your show's in the grave, and then they'll all disappear and find something challenging to watch.
I assume that would tend to be the case, which is honestly why, like, I mean, when it comes to an element of like this kind of weird, like, just immediate, like, hyper, like, ADHD based kind of consumer thing, I just don't really jive with it as much because it's just like I mean, for me, it's just like, wait, what? Wait, no, wait, no, what are you doing now? Guess the time it is 12:04 in your time zone, making it the first for both of us officially. You know what that means? To put it lightly, you're fucked. Oh, great. Well, I'm fucked. What more Halloween shit? Oh, some Slender Man. Zip my toe for the last. I'll start. It's my background, right? It's my lock screen for my phone. Come little children wanting to recapture. I love to create possible. I feel like Oh, so you have like your screens, being some Schlendy, some Slenderman. Oh shit. Well, well. I guess that's what it means to be fucked, because that's just going to be constant Halloween stuff here for a while. Oh boy. Oh boy.
So there's something to be said for fan service, but there's something to be said for
Someone authorized asset, the best advice that we as writers can think of for other writers, and I reply, take advice with a grain of salt. I mean, honestly, yeah. It's kind of the same thing, when it comes to like any of these different like forms of art, when it comes to like advice or anything, because Paul will kind of almost do like kind of the dream crush method, which frankly is either more of a motivator or can just like kind of be the reality check someone might need, For me, it's more of a motivator, but like for a lot of people, it's just kind of like, oh well, okay, but so it's like honestly, I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like sometimes there really isn't, besides just like take it with a grain of salt and just kind of do what works for you. And really, honestly, I think the only real meritable advice is just make connections. Won't strike too much, but the price the food picks I would share would have a tint of spooky vibes. Well, I'm sure they will. Besides, it didn't really mean to like tune into Paul too much anyway, but he just happened to be live when I decided to go live, and I was like, I'm already listening to him. Fucking, I'll just keep him in the background.
I'll ride a dirt bike. How's that? You take me to Pismo and you give me a nice fucking low CC dirt bike, and I'll tool around the dunes on it, okay? But as far as me getting on a fucking motorcycle, the chances are better that my dick will grow wings and fly away.
Damn. My dick shall grow wings. My dick drink a Red Bull and it grew wings.
Paralysis.
It transitioned off of my body and flew away.
In my personal life.
I wouldn't mind getting a dirt bike and traveling up in the dunes. Honestly, I'd rather do that shit up in the eastern Oregon, region, because, dude, the sand dunes out there, sick. And also, like, during the winter, it can snow, so, snow out there. So the dunes, when it's cold as fuck and snowy, or at least has, like, a nice little fresh layer of snow, you get, like, this extra layer of, like, it's almost kind of like when you step down in the snow, you just get this nice, patch of just sand just kind of chilling there, and you're just like, whoa. So sometimes it looks kind of cool.
But I remember when I went to visit my dad, when we all thought he was dying of cancer, people told me, you got to come see him. He survived it, but when he saw me, we hadn't seen each other in 6 years. And first thing he saw when he saw me, he said, "Yeah, boy, you look like a badass biker." What?
Badass biker, boy.
Feeling okay? I think maybe you're sicker than they think. Like, what are you talking about, bro? I don't look anything like a biker.
Yeah, you
like a badass.
Dude, Paul kind of does. If you had a leather jacket, like a bandana, or like, even like maybe a hat like this or some shit, and fucking like had like, I don't know, a Harley Davidson shirt or some shit, dude, he would look like a biker. There's plenty of bikers I've seen plenty of bikers that unironically damn near look like him. Okay.
Whatever you say. Sounds like he was proud of you. I just think he was happy to see me.
Damn, boy, looking like a biker.
I think there was about 95% less traffic. Motorcycles would be ideal. Maybe, yeah.
Well, explain India. It's like, dude, like, or, different, like Bangladesh and, places like that. Because, dude, like, everyone's either riding those little mini, like, van bus things, or they're, like, riding motorcycles. They're little cabs and shit. Like little sedan cars and stuff. So, I mean, and traffic, there's like no real like sense of traffic. It's just like a legit flow. And it seems to work there. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just honestly how we're doing it.
Might be paralyzing, but still more than a thrill and rush than most of life. Yeah, but you can get
It's crazy. I'm here talking about Halloween. A spider just appeared in front of my face, hanging from a web. Try to knock it out of the way. I don't know where it is. Oh shit! It was funny. I saw a ladybug that was kind of stuck on an abandoned web. And I got it out. It was crawling on my hand for a little bit, and then it flew, and then it landed on my face and just sat there for like 10 minutes. And I was just like, I tried to grab it, but it kept like walking around all over my face, and I was like, okay, this is getting annoying. And I eventually got it back on my hand, and it just flew off. And I was like, I don't know if it was trying to give me a kiss on the cheek or something or what, but it was interesting. And also, my lunch stream break the other day, like I saved a little bumblebee, and it was chilling there on like the little flower. For even though when I went back to work, then I went back on my last break. Eventually, it just kind of recovered from being drunk or something, I guess, because bees can apparently get drunk, and it eventually flew off and did its own thing. But I saw it like walking across the sidewalk, going just one direction, and just like about to go across the street, and I was like, "Well, here, buddy." And I picked her up on my hand, and she was just like going the same direction, just walking across my hand. And I was like, "All right, here we go." She was just kind of walking casually, just doing her thing, and eventually I went over here, and I just kind of like plopped her on one of the flowers, and she just kind of hung up on top of it and just kind of sat there. To save it from being exploited by the queen bee. No, it wasn't near a nest. It was just on a sidewalk, just doing its own thing, like walking across the street almost, where it would have been certainly squished.
Rush is elsewhere, bro. Like it's way safer to just jump out of airplanes, bro. You want an adrenaline rush? Get into parachuting. Alright? That's way better than riding around a fucking expensive ass death rocket.
Bruh. You're telling me to just fall from the sky, bro.
After Blair Witch Project, were you scared?
What the fuck? I don't want to do... I want to do that, but I don't want to do that. Does that make sense? Because I hate the idea of falling, but at the same time, parachuting sounds kind of fun, though. But fuck, dude. It's that... Dude, like, everything in my id, in my, like, Neanderthal brains could be like, no! That's an edge of death. No! Like, I might unironically need to get pushed out. I'll hate whoever the fuck does it for a long time, but I certainly would. I heard, honestly, once you're actually, like, falling, once you're kind of in that zero grav state, then it's actually fine, but it's just, like, that initial, like, adjustment period from when you're, like, just chilling versus falling.
I've never been... Can I be real with you guys? I love a movie where the woods are made to look spooky, but can I be real? Every fucking time I go like, dude, I want to go there. It's like...
True. Honestly, when it comes to, like, Halloween spooky woods, like, 90% of the time, I'm just like, that place looks dope.
You guys know that movie, The Witch?
Yeah.
Where there's that, like, prairie, like clearing, and then there's, like, old gnarled oaks, and, like, they make it look real spooky over there. I'm always like, dude, I wish I knew what this was, bro. I would love to go smoke a fat fucking blunt in that forest and just fucking chill out all day.
True.
I'm drawn to the woods, bro. I'm not scared of them. I'm so drawn to the sea. I think I'm more scared of the sea, but like in a respectful way. I understand the ocean can rise up and kill you at any moment, but fucking the woods, though?
Yeah, we all kind of know what's out in the woods for the most part. I mean, you got bears, mountain lions, shit like... I mean, wolves, stuff. Like, we kind of know what's out in the woods. The ocean's a lot more of a sinister beast. And just not because of the life that's in it, but just for it in itself. I mean, so I think, if pound for pound, the ocean is legitimately more scarier because water is legitimately a seriously sinister fucking force in general. Fuck what Paul says. I want to visit the spooky forest. I want to live there, except bugs. Fuck bugs. Well, I mean, that's kind of a part of that, and you kind of have to deal with that shit, when it comes to living in the forest. But it's not like, it's a perma thing either. There's ways to deal with it. Like, there are certain plants and certain, like, smokes, like, if you're using, like, or just in smoke in general, like, that tends to be, major, bug repellent. So it's not like it's impossible to, avoid the bug. There's ways to do it.
It's great. It's a great movie.
Take that, Ocean. What's this?
We gather today to remember those brave Quahog men who were lost at sea. The Bible declares an eye for an eye. So let us now take our vengeance on this murderous ocean. You won't be hurting anyone anymore.
An eye for an eye.
Indoor has the creepiest woods with cannabis, Care Bears, and shit. Indoor was dope, bro.
Indoor? What? Cannabis Care Bears?
Go fuck yourself. And I want to ride a land speeder too. No, I've been back east, bro. You know where it's deep and spooky? And it was my favorite forest ever. West Virginia.
True. I've never been there, but dude, I've seen enough photos and things about West Virginia to just know that, bro. Dude, the forests are dark, spooky, cool, and like rich, full of crazy history and shit.
I spent, I think, 2.5 or 3 weeks, maybe more, in Morgantown, West Virginia. What's your favorite place to camp in California? When I was a kid, it was a place up in the Sierras called Dinky Creek.
I don't know if I've ever heard of that place. I know some different, like...
Certified badass.
I mean, I've known of a few different, like, little spots. I've never been to any of them, but I know there's, like, different, like, pretty popular places out in California for, like, you know, camping spots and shit. Ireland has the mad spooky woods, dude. Oh, I bet. And honestly, especially when it comes to a lot of Celtic and Irish lore, when it comes to, like, the fog and, like, the forests and shit, it just makes it even more awesome to me. Makes it more cool.
Oh, man. Can't fight for shit. Don't like guns. How am I a badass, bro?
The beard. The beard, bro.
Anywhere nice around LA? I mean, I know all about fucking California, and LA is all kind of nice, but I also love LA. I love LA. People ride, people cry, people love it, people die, people run, people love it. I love it. No, I do, dude. LA is fucking great. A lot of people hate on it, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of LA.
The fucking horrifying shithole.
I love LA, but it's a horrifying shithole.
I fucking love that shithole. LA is great, man.
It's kind of like Portland. Some people say it's a shithole, but you know what? It's mine, so
LA
I take pride in it.
I love a movie that's set in LA, baby. You live 22 miles away from LA, then you live in LA. Let's be real, bro. And you know this is true. In California, if you're 22 miles from LA,
you're in LA.
Still, bro.
Yeah. Dude, it's kind of like, you know, if you're like me, if you're like a mile or two away from Portland itself, you're pretty much in fucking Portland, okay? Like, yeah. It's like, you know, people say, oh, well, I'm from Westland, or, oh, I'm from, like, Selwood, or I'm from here. It's like, no, you're not. You're from Portland. Okay? Like, you're from Portland. Come on. Like, give me a break. I mean, it's like, once you go out to, like, Oregon City or fucking, like, Lake O, or... And even then, Lake O is pretty much might as well just be Portland, but it's, like, kind of hidden off enough in those, like, little cliff hillsides, you know, on our side of, like, you know, the metro area to where I think it's, like, isolated enough to where it could, you know, be its own thing, but it's pretty much about as far as you get without might as well be Portland. Same thing for me. I'm like the edge of what might as well be Portland. A lot of it's just because, like, of, you know, Milwaukee and Portland and a lot of these other towns, too, from Westland, so, etc. All these little greater Portland metro area little towns, like Tigard, Beaverton, you know, etc. You know, all of them, Portland included, have, like, been expanding, so a lot of, like, the edges of, like, these places are starting to really blend a lot. to the point where it's literally just based off the virtue of like some line on a map that pretty much dictates whether you're in one area or not. You might as well be in Portland for all intents and purposes. Like if I was literally on the other side of a creek that's over here, and then maybe like another like 1,000 feet up a hill, I'm literally in Portland. Like, I mean, I'm not that far away from literally being there. I'm like on the edge of that shit. Whoa!
What are you doing here?
What the fuck? I'm watching you. Jesus, I'm getting called out. Holy fuck! Ah.
Where does LA begin and end?
I got called out by Paul.
Like on the southern tip of LA.
Damn. Two characters stuck in a magic forest horse story, traveling the path eventually forked. Alright, so our officer to the left would stick right with the heads of baby dolls missing eyes. Alright, with the creepy nursery songs coming from it, which do you choose? I feel like the creepy nursery songs coming from it has like a lot more of a sinister, like ethereal, like spiritual element that's gonna like haunt me permanently or psychologically torture me, until I die or some shit. So I think I'll like take the heads with the eyes missing, from the baby dolls. Because like let's say it's a slasher or a killer or some shit, then hey, I can at least run.
It ends with what we call
can't run from a demonic spirit doing nursery rhymes, that are echoing out from its side of the fucking forest. Can't run from that.
So LA does not begin until you're over the Grapevine in the very south part of the San Fernando Valley. The Grapevine is a mountain pass that is notorious in California for being treacherous and shitty. So that is where LA begins on the south side. On the north side, you'd have to ask somebody else. That's what I mean. Magic Mountain is right off the Grapevine in Valencia. So I'd say LA begins in Valencia, California, at the south end. And
I didn't realize Magic Mountain was out there. I thought it was like more in Central Cali. I'm sorry, I mean, we could just cut through the trees later coming out of the other side covering scratches. Man, fuck Sam Raimi. Fuck Sam Raimi, man.
Maybe Burbank or not? No, because Burbank is, and then it's Anaheim. Maybe Anaheim? Kind of borders LA on the north?
Not really. Anaheim's kind of out there. Like, there's a nice little opening stretch between Anaheim and and LA, ain't there, in California? I'm really wanting to start to look on a map now. I don't want to pull it up because it'll immediately pull my address first and just like, here you are. So I don't want to do that, but I kind of want to look on a fucking map now.
But it's hard to say, man. Urban sprawl is so fucking crazy there.
Maybe the sprawl's gotten worse since I was there, but I was there in freshman year of high school. Well, fuck, that's like almost well over a decade ago now. Fuck, maybe it's different now.
Around Valencia to San Bernardino to Orange County, yeah, I would say that you're probably.
No joke, that Evil Dead scene was so uncomfortable to watch, which is saying something considering the content of that film. Great movie, by the way. Oh, yeah. I haven't seen it in a while, but from what little I do remember, it was like definitely uncomfortable and kind of like, whoa, bro. It definitely had a very strong, unsettling like vibe to it. Honestly, there's like this one, I think it's a show called From that has been popping up on my YouTube Shorts feed every now and then lately. And I've been wanting to check it out because honestly, it seems pretty brutal and pretty like horrifying, from what I can tell. And I kind of want to see where it's at and where I can find it because it generally seems kind of interesting.
Palmdale, kind of like a western extreme, because that's kind of where I think it ends on the west. Like
for LA, yeah, definitely. Like Palmdale might as well just be like basically the Fort Worth of LA. It's like if Dallas is to Fort Worth, then LA is to Palmdale.
Into the high
might as well be just one big city.
Through that pass is kind of where you kind of stop being in LA. Palmdale was pretty LA, but then like after Palmdale, you start getting to Palm Springs. That's not LA anymore.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like
It's kind of the same thing with, like, honestly, I think honestly Dallas and Fort Worth, are kind of a good comparison for like LA and Palmdale, just because like there's at least a similar. Because I mean, I think they're like the two downtowns are relatively the same distance from Fort Worth and Dallas, and the sprawl is maybe not exactly equivocal, but kind of the same. I mean, LA is way fucking bigger than Dallas for sure, but I mean, it's like, but at least kind of comparatively speaking, I think, at least there's a relatively good analogy. At least, from what I could tell. And honestly, Texas all in all isn't that much different from California.
Border city of LA that you could like use to look at a boundary, maybe.
A lot of people think there's like some major difference between the two, and there really isn't.
Palmdale's like right there up in like the Tehachapi desert, the high desert there. I think LA is trying to expand there. Yeah, I never visited LA, but I went to San Fran. It was all the craziest cool. Yeah, San Fran is beautiful, man. And he came to fucking New Orleans. That was a crazy town. You see that too. A lot of people never get to see New Orleans.
No,
that's where I met you, boy. Down there in New Orleans, man. Palmdale is in San Bernardino County, and that county runs all the way to the Arizona border. Yeah, that's why I said that like Palmdale would probably be like the border extreme. Yeah, San Fran is beautiful, but kind of tough to get around. Like
I would love to go around there.
Traffic.
My friend Stefan apparently is in Portugal too. He just finished up Spain and now he's in Portugal. And it's like, God damn it, dude. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, what are you doing with all these awesome trips, you son of a bitch? And, and he's been checking out Lisbon. And it's like, and he says it's kind of hard to traverse, for a town. I mean, easy walking, but like when it comes to biking or maybe like riding a car or any other form of public metro transit, like, or at least a public metro and transit, it's good. But like, if it comes to like walking or taking a car or like, or riding a bike or taking a car and stuff, it's not really good. But, it's like an ancient old city anyway. So, I mean, it's like, I think a lot of it's just because of how old those streets probably are.
Really bad.
I mean, Iceland, like when I was in Reykjavik, had a similar kind of infrastructure, though obviously a lot more modern. But I love it. Like, it makes things, very walkable and honestly, like, easy to ride your bike around, at least, depending on what town it is, but, like, it is, oh my God, like, I really love it because, it's kind of pretty much like the broader concept of a 15-minute city that conservatives, for a while there were freaking the fuck out over. And it's like, why wouldn't that be a good thing? It's not like you're permanently stuck there. It's just meaning that if you live in, a city, then things should be at least within a 15-minute, like, walk, bike, or transit, form of transportation. You shouldn't necessarily have to have a car, kind of thing. That's kind of what it's implying. It doesn't mean you can't leave or can't have a car or any of this other shit. It's just saying, let's, kind of restructure how we, redo cities and shit. What are they freaking out about again? 15-minute cities, like these old European cities, how they're very walkable. There's a lot of, like, stuff within kind of like a 15-minute time span of walking or whatever. But yet, when people talk about maybe doing that here in the United States, they want to freak out how, like, everyone's going to be locked in 15-minute city, like, style districts or whatever, because conservatives are fucking nuts. It's like one of those things where they look at, like, a lot of European architecture and stuff like that and say, I want that. But they don't want, like, the actual positives of it. They just want the aesthetic of it. Because when you get someone like me, want the actual, like, positives of it, even if the aesthetics aren't completely there, they're all like, what the fuck? What is this crazy communist conspiracy shit? It's like, huh? Like, wouldn't it be a good thing to have fucking, like, 15-minute cities? Where things are walkable and you can, like, ride a bike and it's like 2 minutes and you're there, boom. Some shit.
In the Bay Area right now, and you really gotta kind of like sneak in the middle of the night and sneak out in the middle of the night if you don't want to fucking get like sit in traffic for 3 hours. there's like a million people. There's like way more than a million people in what we consider to be LA, bro. Way more. Way fucking more.
Probably like 10 plus mil. If I had to take a minimal guess.
Thousands. Bet you down a swamp, boy.
Boy. Been down some Nola down on boy. On the South Puget down and down the Ponton.
Youth leader brother Thomas Reynolds. Hello. What's up, buddy? What's your favorite LA movie? Ooh.
Oh, a little ball.
Chinatown. It has to be. That's such a good one.
Oh, that's a good one.
If you haven't seen Chinatown with younger Jack Nicholson, you're missing it.
Shit. It's been a minute since I see that movie, but when you said that, I was like, oh, fuck, that is a good film. For me, I think for one of the more recent ones, I think it'd be Falling Down, but mostly just because of other aspects of the film, the content of the film and stuff like that, but like, oh, God, that one's a fucking good one, though. For like a movie that takes place in LA, ooh, that's a good one.
Chinatown, bro.
Solid. That's a solid one.
Best LA movie. Greatest.
What's another good one? Train Day's another good one. What I mean, honestly, I never really think about like I guess, well, okay. I was about to say Volcano because that technically takes place in LA, but it's like, god damn, that movie's fucking cheesy. Though it was like one of the first movies I actually like freaked the fuck out on. But you're gonna go on about wrong with it. Okay, so to the con, they like the aesthetic of European cities, right? With that comes with them being able to walk, be walkable. So all you have to do is just let them build cities like that, but it's designs a walkable city on that, making the thing they hate. Volcano. Have you not seen the movie Volcano? It has what's his face? I think he's like the fire department chief or like the mayor of the city. Oh, what the fuck is his name? Shit. Fuck, he's man. He was kind of an older guy that's played in a bunch of other fucking movies. Oh fuck, is it one of those disaster ones? Yeah, because there's like a volcano. Like I can, like I bet I don't want to necessarily like kind of. Here, maybe I could do it like this. Volcano movie. Oh yeah, it's a 1997 movie. Yeah, this one. And yeah, Tommy Lee Jones, that's the guy that's in the fucking movie. Yeah, it's this one. Yeah, something unspeakably chillin's heating up in the city of Angels, Los Angeles. Beneath the famed La Brea tar pits, a raging volcano pushes up and blah blah. Yeah, so that's yeah. It's basically like LA gets a volcano in the center of it. And honestly, like, for an old movie and being kind of cheesy, it's kind of a good movie. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like it, but, you know what I mean? It's cheesy, though. I remember the scene that freaked me the fuck out, though, as a kid when I first watched it on VHS, too. It was the scene with the firefighter and, trying to rescue one of the people in the subways. And his boots are literally melting to the bottom of the, subway car because of the lava's already underneath him. By the time he gets to the end of the car, lava's like 5 feet ahead of him. And it's just like, and he kind of knows that he's kind of fucked and he's going to melt and die. So he's just like, you know what? I can't make it. I'm just going to have to toss her to you or toss him to you or whoever, And he jumps, makes it about like a foot away from, being able to probably make it. Just pushes the person and then just does this going as they just like literally melt away, which by the way realistically that's not what would happen. That guy would literally burst into flames and probably wouldn't be able to even be in that subway car in the first place because that guy would cook like a fucking living roasted chicken inside an oven. But I mean, either way, it's not really a practical movie, but it's a fun one. It's one of those movies where you can have a brew to and have some popcorn and just kind of like just be silly with the boys with and just kind of have a goof, and just be like, whoa, dude, kind of thing too. I mean, it's the late 90s, so, the hardcore cheese and, like, cringe element hasn't really set in stone yet when it came to a lot of these movies, so, I mean, it was still at least done with a little bit of love, It still has some love going on to it. Hollywood treats lava like water. I know, it's like, if you actually look what lava does to anything, like, yeah, some of it will, like, maybe kind of, like, stick into the lava, but like it's basically going to burst into flames before it even touches the lava, essentially. And also sometimes a lot of shit would actually almost kind of like float because of the air pockets and because of the extreme temperature differences. Like you would technically be floating on top of the water because of all the vapors and all the liquid on you would basically make you float, because of the such heat extremes of you being like 97 something degrees. And then lava being like, like 4,000 something fucking degrees or some shit. It's like, yeah, not exactly fun, So, but you can't really do that with, well, you could with Hollywood, and honestly, it would be even more morbid. Imagine that same scene of Volcano where that guy, instead of like, just melting, like it's just like slowly sinking in water or some quicksand or some shit. Like, imagine he just completely combusted into flames, going like, oh, fuck, and then fell back, and now he's just like, ah. Dude, that would be even more disturbing, but they probably couldn't make that cut. They probably did have a scene set aside for that, but, they couldn't actually, like, make the cut because, like, this is going to make it rated R. This is kind of a little morbid. And they're like, all right, we'll make it cheesy and have him melt away like he's in quicksand or something with, like, a little small ring of fire around his waist as he slowly melts through. I don't think I explained my point well enough, though. No, you did. We just kind of... I didn't get a chance to really say anything about it, just because we ended up talking about this. Now we're ping-ponging between two topics, so yeah, I mean... Yeah, I don't really think it's that. It's just we end up talking about the movie, just because, like, I started talking about the movie, then I saw that, and then you asked about that. I mean, if you haven't seen it, though, I mean, if you happen to have, like, one of your friends over or some shit, got, like, some gummies or whatever, split it with them and, have a little vibe. Get some popcorn, get some munchies, shit like that. Because it'll be kind of a fun, but kind of a cool little movie to watch. I'm not going to say it's great, but it's fun. Let me try this con. Walkable cities are dumb. Man, sure, they love how European cities look, though. There's not many cities like that here. Wait, but those cities are walkable in the ribs. I mean, yeah, totally go for it. Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. I mean, honestly, but the thing is, though, the reason why, like, I mean, I understand what you're meaning, though, is because they don't really want the walkability because they want drill, baby, drill, fuck these EVs, fuck all that shit, fuck buses, fuck transit, ladies and gentlemen. We need our F-150s. We need gas-propelled cars. That's what they want, right? So they want the aesthetics of, like, these cool European-style-looking roads and, and houses and shit, but they want it Americanized so you have, like, 3 lanes worth of fucking road, where it's just, like, oversized and shit. It's like, yeah, you get this space for pedestrians on either side that's pretty big and wide so they can shut the fuck up, but now we got a bunch of lanes for all of us. It's like, so, I don't know. I mean, it's like, they don't really, like, they want to basically just kind of take what we got now, but just kind of, like, Europeanize it in a way that kind of has, like, this traditional, kind of, like, Christian, ancient European look, without actually, like, incorporating a lot of the walkability and the actual pragmatism of how those cities and, are laid out and shit like that, you know what I mean? Because that's how physics work. I know. I mean, look, it's like, I'm just trying to help understand the conservative brain for people, because, look, did I say that they're smart and logical about it? No, they're pretty dumb, but I'm just, look, I've talked to, and it's kind of wish Uncle Robert was still alive a little bit, because I know he would be one of these dudes, be like, these 50-minute sheets, and be like, nah, come on, bro. It's like, because, man, he would get into some interesting theories and shit back and forth with me on these streams way back in the day where I used to sit over here, So it's like, I mean, it's like, shit, dude. He has some wild takes. Nothing about this, though, because this never was, like, a theory, amongst conservatives yet. They want to Americanize it, so we'll make it traditional or some half-assed thing in between. Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess, we were kind of saying the same thing, I think, but just explain it in different ways. Because I get what you're saying. I think I'm just kind of elaborating in my own weird way, but I mean, the point being though, it's just like they don't want to actually do it in a way that is practical. How a lot of these European cities are constructed, even like in a more modernistic sense, because like obviously a lot of these places get kind of like restructured from the ground up, to kind of like help remodernize, re-retrofit a lot of different shit. But it's not like a lot of it just suddenly becomes like America corporate, like we got like a 3-lane road bullshit thing or whatever the fuck, tiny little like strip of sidewalk for the pedestrians and bicyclists and all that. It's like, I mean, they heavily incorporate a lot of things to where even roads are technically available for pedestrians, and at the end of the day, like people in cars have to fundamentally yield no matter what, kind of thing. That's how it was in Iceland. Like, I could walk on the roads willy-nilly because a lot of other people were. No one gave a shit in downtown Reykjavik. And yeah, there would be people driving around, but they'll be driving at like 5 miles an hour. And it's not like it's because they have traffic, because it's not really much of a need for it. It's because, yeah, sometimes pedestrians will walk across the street or be on the street itself, But there's also like maybe at most 5 or 6 cars, in downtown Reykjavik or some shit, unless it's like late night downtown commerce, hey, let's, get all the boys carpooled, from one of the cities that's like 20 minutes away from Reykjavik and go to one of the bars to party. Because that happens a lot. Like at night, I notice there's a lot more traffic in Reykjavik because a lot of people want to come in, from outside of town, because Reykjavik's a very small place, and a lot of these villages got fucking nothing for the most part. So they'll go to Reykjavik, or if they're in northern Iceland, Akureyri, or in like southern Iceland, probably Holfin or some shit, and go to some of the local bars that are in the area. That's like, there's kind of like 3 major cities, and those are the 3. And, there's like a few bars and shit in those places, especially Reykjavik, especially about how much of a tourist spot that is. So, a lot of people, a lot of locals go there too. So it's like traffic can be bunk, but because Reykjavik is pretty walkable, even if you're like 10 or 15 minutes away from like, where like the party zone is a little bit, where all the bars are and shit. I mean, it's not like it's a big deal because it's like a 10, 15 block-ish walk, if that, for the most part. You just have to kind of like cut through other people and other traffic that might be going through. Now, it's supposed to be fuck capitalism on Mars, which I understand is bad, but at the same time, if we got that plant to the point we could do that, I could see it as more of a net gain. Yeah. I guess it's kind of like, a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's like, fuck capitalism, oh god, but at the same time, it's like, well, I mean, that would be good if we're able to at least, like, colonize to the point we got shit like that, I guess, So, I suppose it's kind of like one of those neutral things where it's like, it's okay, but it's, it's got its pros, it's got its cons. I mean, because, depending on how the paradigm is by the time we're able to legitimately do shit like that, hopefully we're able to not have to worry about, like, space capitalism and shit. Go to the one place that hasn't been tainted by capitalism. Space! Red Alert 3, Command & Conquer. Tim Curry, anyone? No, just me? Venom would get it. You would.
We'll find that the thoughts in that form come less often. Transcendental meditation and mindfulness meditation are not necessarily
Buddhism. Whoa.
Transcendental meditation tends to focus on a mantra. So,
But I've seen the full film.
What is it?
It's not a movie, it's a game. It's a video game that's a live action too, with cutscenes and shit. It's a really good move. It's a really good game. It's not a movie, but I honestly can understand how it could maybe be mistaken for it, but it's a video game. Red Alert 3, Command and Conquer. I didn't know that. I mean, to be fair, I mean, to anyone who knows the game but doesn't actually play it or know really much about it, just as like saw memes about it or probably heard the Hell's March. I mean, you probably have at least heard that. So there's at least, people have probably been aware of it, but not realizing it's either a video game or a movie or it's a game, but not realizing there's like real live action cutscene shit. And at the same time, probably, or seeing the live action cutscene shit, because they've seen it in memes and stuff or seen, stuff like that on YouTube or whatever and thought it was a movie. So I don't really blame you for that. I mean, I first recognized it because I heard of the song and saw some different stuff from the game, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I realized they had, like, live-action cutscene shit, and I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Nam Yoho Renge Kyo. Nam Yoho Renge Kyo. Nam Yoho Renge Kyo. Or Jagarudev, 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 Jagarudev. It's a way to, like, focus. I don't use vocalization in my focus. I use my breathing. So I start to think about my breathing as the outer world coming into the inner world, and the inner world going into the outer world. And I focus on that exchange as a thought and as a physical process. My lungs fill, the outer world comes in, and I take it in.
Oh, dude.
And then the outer world comes out.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world. Images of broken glass before me like a million eyes and draw across the universe. Who's it
Paul Sofova, how many times has he shot on Vosh for being Narutard? They can't help it as his very serious mental disability. And what is described as basically chakra training because he's doing Za Buddhism. Like, he's actually doing spirituality kind of stuff. Like, he's a Buddhist. So what he's talking about is actual, like, meditation and shit. Like, it actually has a real-world thing involved. I mean, I know you're... I think you're joking? Dude, I mean, honestly, I for half a second thought you were Venom for a moment, because it's like, I feel like he just literally wants to just, like, shit on Paul just for the lulz. Like, unironically, because I'm just like, bro, like, dude, do you actually listen to what he says, or do you just, like, take, like, one thing out of context that he says, and you're just like, nope, and just, like, dip out of it. And, like, because, dude, like, I don't even know. Paul's secretly a Naruto, dude. Well, I mean, he knows a lot about it. He used to be, he used to date a weeaboo. He used to date a weeb. So, I mean, I'm sure he's certainly aware and probably has watched Naruto.
Exciting and inviting me.
I could tell at some point they talk about ministry. How does that get brought up? I kept seeing this little chap talking about stigmata every day is Halloween. So they're talking about Jorgensen and ministry.
Yeah,
I'm just like, fuck, dude.
Full in this moment, oneness thing. But it's weird.
Also, mystery's badass.
I don't think it's weird.
I almost got a chance to see him at the Roseland, but by the time I was going to go get tickets, they already sold out. And I was like, God damn it, dude. I was butthurt about that. Wait, what?
While I'm meditating, I focus
yeah, ministry.
on my breathing while I'm doing these stretches.
Yeah, or Al Jorgensen. I saw this chat like for like 3 minutes straight here. They're still talking about it. I can see them still talking about it. Like, at some point, Ministry and, like, shit gets brought up, and it's like, what the fuck? Because I got a chance to see them live with Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper, because he was an opener with them, and Filter was as well. And then they announced another tour shortly after that, with another band, and then Casey something, I think. And that sold out pretty fucking quickly. And I was just like, God damn it. It's like, man. Because it was at the Roseland, so I knew, like, tickets would probably sell quick, because when I found out the tickets were on sale, it was, like, on a Sunday, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just wait for payday. Payday came along. Went to go try to buy a ticket. Every outlet was sold out, and I was like, fuck! Made me sad, dude. That shit sold so quick. So I'll just have to wait until next time Ministry fucking, just pops up. That's one of my biggest fears. I say something dumb, and then they just bring it up on screen and let it linger for 3 minutes. Yeah, that's happened a few times before. Hope you get to see them. Well, I've seen Ministry once already, but it was at the Richfield, and I was on the grass. I mean, you could go see my video that I uploaded. It was their song, Stigmata. Like, if you look up, like, on my live shows playlist on my channel, and, I mean, if you go down far enough, you'll find it. Also, Filter's Hey Man, Nice Shot, I uploaded that too.
Depeche Mode. Yeah, I like Depeche Mode. That whole vibe. There were other bands that I think of in the same vein.
Out of sight, out of mind. Caption this. I could tell they're yelling at each other until that happens. It's like, hey, it's like, back the fuck off from my side turf. No, you back the fuck off on the side of my turf. It's like, oh, good, he backed the fuck off. He ain't there anymore. Now I got this band right here as a good wall to the top. Hey, you motherfucker, you back the fuck off. Oh, now he's good, gone. Like, that's basically, it's like, hey, motherfucker. Know your place, bitch.
In this Depeche Mode, one of them is In Excess. But you had to know Depeche Mode was like that super like dance techno kind of dark. It was like a dark techno sound that they had.
Dark synth.
It was really neat. The 80s were great. You liked synths?
I love
Some of the
synths.
synth stuff in the 80s, I wish people would use those types of synths. Like the synths in Sweet Dreams by the Eurythmics. That grinding like organ. Super.
I kind of really love that grim dark synth type of shit. Kind of like what I was doing a little bit. Kind of almost like that John Carpenter style where it's like where you just have like this very grim dark kind of like beat. And every now and then you kind of get like those little high arpeggios going like bum bum ba-dum, bum, like it's just like that kind of like deep dark grim synth shit is like right up my alley because honestly it's so easy to make it metal as fuck. Honestly, a really great example when I'm talking about shit like that would be Beast in Black. They really love incorporating that 80s styles dark synth, or just that 80s synth in general. They really incorporate a lot in their music, and it sounds fire as fuck.
Electronic organ sound.
Goes so hard.
So good. You know who's using that type of shit? Lil Uzi, Playboy Cardi, Kodak Black. The front edge, what I consider to be like the front edge of talent.
You know, I've listened to a little bit of Lil Uzi and some Kodak Black. Not my thing. I like their beats though. I'll admit, I think some of the beats are a little funky fresh a little. I do kind of like that. At least for Kodak Black, not really a fan of the consistent auto-tune usage that he uses and stuff. Because I can kind of tell he actually can sing a little, but he is just always using the auto-tune, and it just kind of really overblares it. And it's like, I think that's just his style. But it's like, I mean, that's so not my thing, but I do like the beats though. I think his instrumentals and the beats and shit that produced are pretty fire though. I do like the beats.
In the rap game right now, or
I
starting.
mean, Lewis is kind of the same thing, but his vocals are like, I mean, they're not that at least all the time, but I mean, that's always usually like kind of thing that either makes or breaks a lot of rap for me is really kind of like the lyrical / singing talent of a lot of the guys that do this type of stuff. Because honestly, most of the time I find myself pretty compelled by the beats and the instrumentals, you know, like usually, but it's once like the lyricism, well, not even lyricism, but it's like once like the vocalization starts coming out where I'm just like, oh. Or I might be like, oh, okay. I mean, I kind of like Mario Judah because he kind of has a very weird, unique style to it. You know, when it comes to that type of shit, you know, where he will kind of incorporate some auto-tune, but it's like, it's so random and weird and very weirdly experimental as fuck. Like, I kind of like it, you know, for that. Like, it's at least kind of compelling to me. But, I don't know. I mean, I think that's just kind of the thing I need from it. It's like, there has to be at least something compelling that you're doing with it. So, I mean, that's kind of why I think Mario Judah at least kind of knows it. Because there's like that one song, I forgot what it was called, but it goes like, like that. He literally is like that high pitch. He's like, I don't even know what he's saying. It's kind of like high pitched auto-tune mumble rap, but it's so weird, but kind of funky, and I kind of like it weirdly enough because the beat legit goes hard as fuck for no reason. It's like, so I don't know. It's one of those things where at least it's compelling. I can't say I necessarily like love it, but I do kind of like it. You know, it's like it's kind of compelling. You know, I won't like bop it every time, but if I just got weird hair in my ass, I'll pull it up.
Those 80s songs.
Oh my god, he's sprawled out, just passed out with his ear sticking up in the air. It's so cute. It's like a little pyramid. Those sweet dreams are made of days. You and I are too distant. Drive a world across the seven seas.
Huge on that, right? Mike Dean is a famous synth guy in the hip hop world. I don't know him, but I know you don't like The Weeknd. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of The Weeknd. Yeah, but he does use a lot of synth. You're right. I gotta be honest with you guys right now. When it comes to that sound, I think Kodak might be doing it better, or like Cardi. It's like Kodak or Cardi, Kodak or Cardi, Kodak.
You know, I did just say that Kodak do got some compelling beats and shit. So maybe Paul might be on something about that one.
Who do I think is making the best use of these cool synth samples and synth lines and shit? And I'm constantly flipping back and forth between.
Maybe I should check out some Cardi, honestly, because he keeps mentioning him a lot. And I've kind of seen him like pop up on my feed occasionally, but I just never checked him out. So, you know what? Maybe I'll at least have to, take a gander. Because I've listened to some Uzi and some Kodak, and at least the instrumentals are, alright, but I don't know. I mean, I'm always willing to at least expand my palette, so, and I'm always willing to at least open myself to, like, what's out there in the rap game and shit. Because honestly, there are artists in the rap game that I generally actually do like. Lil Nas X, Post Malone. So there are artists that I actually do like, and actually respect talent and what they're doing and shit. So it's not like, it ain't there or there's nothing to it. I think a lot of it's just maybe not completely into my taste either way, but, I'm at least willing to at least, have an open ear and appreciate what I do like about it.
Uzi Vert, Playboy Cardi.
And also, I think that's what you can tell how someone might be a music journalist versus not, because they can at least appreciate what they do like about stuff, even if they don't really like the overall music or sound itself.
Kodak Black. Uzi Vert, Playboy Cardi, Kodak Black. Like, those are the three kings right now. And, like, who would you guys, like, let me ask the chat. If you're into modern rap, I don't want to hear who your three ancient rappers kings are. We can have that conversation like old hip hop shit later. I'm a hip hop head, so we can have that conversation all the way back. I got into hip hop when hip hop was fresh and new. When we're talking about like People that are dope right now that are dropping hits right now.
What the fuck is Nuggy saying here? Hold on.
Top on the chart.
I think it's bullshit. Guys with long hair look great. Thank you, Nuggy. Shut up, girls. What the fuck is going on here? What's happening? Man, we've been pausing this off and on so much that we're so far back that like we still haven't even gotten to the ministry shit. And what's that? What's going on?
Your big three in one, like, comment. You know what I mean? So just give me one. Give me your three. Love Ministry and Skinny Puppy, yes. Ministry especially. Skinny
Dude,
Puppy,
Ministry fucking slaps,
Ministry,
bro.
love it. You know what shit I like? VNV Nation, bro. When you're talking about 80s and early 90s goth synth shit, have you ever heard VNV Nation?
I haven't listened to their shit. You know, I've been needing to, though.
She was a lesbian, so she didn't want me, but she put me on the VNV Nation. She used to burn me CDs.
VNV Nation?
Huge into them. I love VNV Nation. They're great.
Gonna look at that bitch up. Oh, right there. Boom.
Amazing. She stepped out of the way.
No! We just started getting the ministry shit.
It's a little different, but you give it a chance and it grows on you, Darkcaster. If you like that kind of fucking sound, that goth synth shit. Techno goth kind of shit.
Dude, Ministry's like cover of This Is Halloween is legit fucking awesome.
Ministry is my favorite band. Saw them in San Francisco in February too. You know,
dude, that was in their last tour, and I wanted to go see, motherfucker.
You want to know? I want you to guess what.
But they sold out before I could.
I can't fucking not headbang to. If it comes on, I tell everybody to shut the fuck up if they're just having their own conversations. I just want it. I want to hear it. What's my Ministry song, bro?
Stigmata.
Just one fix. Good guess, but no.
You what? No. New World Order.
Nope. Not that's the one people always say, dude. Not just one fix. Nope. I'll give you a hint.
That's New World Order. It has. Wait, no, that's Stigmata, isn't it? That's Stigmata. That has to be Stigmata. I'm pretty sure that's Stigmata. That's Stigmata. That's Stigmata. That's Stigmata. I know my Ministry. Yeah, I know my Ministry. That's Stigmata.
Just like a car crash.
That's
like a knife. My favorite weapon is the look in your eyes.
Such a good fucking song, dude.
Did they play that at the fucking show? Did they play Stigmata?
At least when I saw them live, they did. Some good shit.
Tell me they played Stigmata, bro. They have to play Stigmata.
Dude, they I think it's like a core thing on their set. They have to.
They're not gonna fucking. I'm gonna get cucked. Here, tell me they play Stigmata, bro.
They better. If they didn't play Stigmata this last
year.
year.
Wiggly nose look like the Discord logo. What? My wiggly nose.
Wiggly nose? What the fuck?
What are you talking about?
Honestly, my most favorite like Ed Baggy song that Mystery has got is actually one of their newer songs. It's the goddamn right trash. It's such a fucking banger song and very heavily politically motivated, and I love it. And the music video goes so hard too.
I probably would be a candidate. Have my nose broken.
You goddamn white trash. Fuck you, white trash. You goddamn white trash.
I'm just saying, some people okay, so do you have a stiff piece of cartilage or?
Yeah.
It's some people can push their nose all the way down because the cartilage that they have is
I kind of can.
Far down and it's not as stiff.
Yeah, I kind of. Not all the way, but kind of.
Rigid cartilage like we do. You get punched right in the nose. That's what breaks. Everybody knows Paul and his wiggly nose, I guess.
Yeah, I can move my shit around. My shit's all
I
wiggly.
didn't know my nose was wiggly. They did every day is Halloween, but a metal version, that's cool. They better have done Stigmata. I'm gonna be fucking disappointed, bro. Dude, that's such a banger.
I think like for like the most heavy like banging songs for me at least would definitely be Goddamn White Trash, Stigmata, New World Order, Just Stop Oil, and there was another song on their latest album that was pretty banging.
Ministry one day then.
Oh, what would it be?
So I'm kind of a Ministry old head, I guess. Stigmata is like an early record, like that's on an early record, right? The Land of Rape and Honey, right?
Yep.
Is the name of that record. And I think that's one of their early records.
Oh shit! Hold up. Wait. Oh. Whoa. Okay. Oops! I somehow like my phone decided to be like, no, we're just gonna like turn the screen off for a minute.
Dude,
I was trying to do this.
What band is totally fucking dope and underrated? Clutch.
Clutch is actually pretty fucking. I'm not gonna lie, it's actually not bad.
From most of their albums, but if you listen to their self-titled
Clutch. Sorry, distract. I keep seeing this anti-pirating ship. My author feed on Threads, and the consensus is basically if you pirate books from anyone, you are basically worse than Hitler and something. Okay, here's my stance. I don't want for small writers or published houses, but what the fuck is it if someone decides to pirate some books from authors who make thousands or even millions off sales of their work? If I get to that point, I won't give a shit if a handful of my people are downloading my shit. Moreover, there seems to be an assumption here that all writers are on equal footing and that downloading hurts us as a whole. Sorry, is what the case. Clear access to things that you do for entertainment when you give something. It's just fucking asinine, dude. Dude, it really is, man. I agree. Which I could kind of get when it comes to like smaller artists and smaller, content creators and shit, for sure. I could get that. But it's like when it comes to like, sailing the seven seas and finding like, some shit. Honestly, like even if that's the case, then what about like, used books and like, libraries and shit? Like, I mean, it's like at that point, then those authors aren't really making money from those books anymore. Because at that point, they're in third market, like, markets at that rate. Or at a library where you can just check it out. It's like, I guess, in the long run, they kind of get the royalties, because of that type of shit or whatever the fuck. I mean, I guess there's a technicality about it or whatever. But, I mean, it's like, it's just, it really is stupid, dude. And also, there's like a lot of services out there and a lot of things. And a lot of people also just kind of put their shit out there publicly anyway. It really is just asinine and stupid, bro.
You listen to their self-titled debut album, Clutch.
Like with DFF, I know I could have pirated episodes before I joined Patreon, but I didn't because I recognized it actually fucking affect them. Yeah. And that's why I, purposely don't do that shit either. Even when I technically have like a month or maybe a week or two where, I need to wait until payday or some shit, to like re-up my Patreon, like, I just wait. I just have like a small little backlog I need to catch up with, which usually probably ain't going to be that much anyway. So, it's whatever, Like, and also it's like, I mean, like, even if like that were to be like the case in itself, it's like, it would be it's just a fundamental difference. It's like, if I'm pirating, like, let's say, like some Disney movie that came out, like, like The Lion King or some shit. Like, if I decide to say, hey, we're going to try to, like, watch live, on our stream, The Lion King or whatever. It's like, I mean, that is, frankly, far less damaging than if I was like, hey, let's, like, watch DFF's episode on Project 2025 they did a couple weeks ago. It's like, I mean, there's just a fundamental difference to it. I mean, there's a whole spectrum about sailing the seven seas, and a true pirate has principles, and they have consistency with these things. I mean, that's why when it comes to sailing seven seas, a lot of people, say that to either exploitative shitbags or, people that, are, part, or just a part of this whole, like, bigger corporate conglomerations and shit. Like, it's like, hey, if this, like, person is shitty and they're just, like, purposely withholding content or being exploitative stuff, then sail the seven seas and affect them, because fuck them. They're shitty. Or whatever, it's like, I can get that shit for sure. But none of this bunk ass bullshit of just like, hey, it's like, this affects literally everyone equally, and you're basically the worst human being to ever exist. You might as well be Pol Pot, exterminating half the country, when you do that. It's like, what? Like, what? It's like, fuck off.
That band, oh my god, the fucking vibes on that band, bro. Like, I don't know what you would call it, like scuzz metal, or like, I don't know what you would call that, funk metal.
I mean, they probably would have been inspired by Fishbone if that's the case, because Fishbone, when it came to, like, some of their tip of toes and alt metal and, like, funk and, metal and stuff, or at least putting metal in a lot of their music. I mean, like, for example, like I said, I've mentioned before, like, the song Swim, Servitude, Fight the Youth, those are pretty, like, some heavy metal-ass songs and shit, especially for, like, an 80s and 70s, like, kind of, like, classic metal standard. So I'm going to be a lot more of, like, a new metal, like, like, it's just, like, it's funky, but it's just chuggy, thick, and, just, like, and just, like, funky, though, at the same time. Like, this song is such a underrated song, low-key, though. Such a banger. And then they got, like, some ska songs, like Mom Pa, fucking Ghetto Soundwave and shit, where it's just like, it's like just some light, upbeat, some bumpy funk stuff. But yet they also got like this, like, kind of like heavy funky shit. Dude, Fishbone go fucking hard now. If they ever happen to like be in your area on a tour or some shit, you gotta go out of your way to go fucking watch them. Check them out live, dude. I swear to God, you will not regret it at all. It's an experience.
Song from them, Galaxy. What was it called? I can't remember the name of that song. Galaxy 5000. Galaxy 500. Sorry. It's a Dodge Swinger, 1973, top down, chassis free, panel dim, light drive. Jesus on the dashboard. No, it's not called that. What the fuck is that song? Because you're not going to find it. Jesus on the dashboard.
It'd be funny if that's actually what the name of the song is.
Space Grass. That's the name.
Space Grass. I feel like I've heard that song before, because I'm pretty sure I've heard that, like, Jesus on the dashboard.
That's the name of it. No, Clutch is dope, bro. I've always wanted to see them live, but I've never.
I haven't heard all their stuff, but yeah, it just shows that they're underrated, though, because every time I've heard them, I'm like, this is dope, but I never, like, purposely went out of my way to seek them out. It just pops in my playlist sometimes when I'm putting up, like, some, stuff on YouTube.
Hardcore punk is the last stage of punk. It died before hardcore did it.
Nah.
Go fucking die.
I mean, I don't think punk's dead. If anything, it had, like, a moment of, like, sickly comatoseness before even the pandemic hit. But, like, post-pandemic, like, it kind of put some angst in people where it's like, God damn it, we need to get together and make some music, fuck's sake. And all this other shit, because people got kind of pent up because they're all locked down and all this other shit. Like, because honestly, a lot of these bands, like Los Malblados, which I actually happen to be wearing their t-shirt, and, a lot of these other bands, like Last Responders, Guilt and Gambit, like, a lot of these bands that I've been checking out recently, a lot of them have came within, like, the last, like, 2 or 3 years, give or take, if that. And it's like, because I think that, like, weirdly enough, the pandemic kind of like sparked this kind of revival, especially at least in the metal and punk scene in Portland specifically. I can't necessarily completely speak for the rest of the country, but around here, just in general on the West Coast, it's kind of popped back off more lively than ever. It kind of reminds me back of the old days of checking out house shows, just shortly after graduating high school with my boys and all that shit. Where I'll be hanging out with the house shows, sneaking a beer, maybe like taking a one tiny little, I don't know about that. Just being like a weird fucking dork nerd about it or some shit. I was still going to the shows and moshing out like if everyone else. So, it's just like one of those things where it's like, it's starting to kind of get back to that kind of like vibe a little bit. And also like a lot of oldies too have been kind of coming back out and being like, yeah, these are the good old days, kind of thing. It's nice to see you doing what I was doing when I was their age, kind of thing. And I actually kind of like it too. It's nice. Like I said, there's actually a couple oldies out there and, that were chilling. And, me and my friend at Metal T were chatting with him, off and on, because where we were, where we stashed our stuff and set up, it was right next to where they were. And they were like chill as hell and really awesome people. And like pretty much were kind of around in the punk scene back in like the 70s, 80s, in Portland and shit. And, we're around when like, Dead Kennedys, were like with Joe Biafra, we're still like, playing shows, and shit out here.
When you die, you're gonna die.
Punk has definitely gone through its ebb and flows for sure. Metal too. I think like the old like rock and roll kind of thing probably is, kind of come and gone for the most part. Outside of like, maybe some of these other bands like Royal Blood and maybe Ghost and shit. But like, a lot of the like the new like rock and roll today is kind of like, expanded either in like different experimental stuff with like, rap and hip hop and stuff. But especially with like more of the underground metal and punk scenes that are kind of spread out throughout the country. Like, at least from what I notice. A lot of the more like kind of surface mainstream level things have kind of stagnated, I guess, for the most part. Not completely, but, it's not really got the same like flow that it used to back in the day, even when I was like growing up and shit. So it's like, because a lot of bands that I've been heavily into are starting to kind of slowly teeter away from like a lot of their main tours, like Nightwish after releasing their album. They're not even doing a tour for it. It's not like they're done, but they're going to have like a little hiatus after a while. They're just going to take a break after this album and, eventually they'll come back and do a tour and stuff like that. But it's just like, because they have a contract with Nuclear Blast Records right now where they're going to at least make another 2 or 3 albums. So, it's still around for a while. They're still going to be doing their shit, but yeah, definitely. Damn, that train loud. It's like the first time I've like audibly heard a train, from this distance in a while. Like the rail yards are like a couple miles that way, and there's like a train line over here that's probably maybe a mile out. But rarely do they ever honk their horns, especially at this late night. That kind of fucking surprised me hearing that. But yeah, but like I was saying, it's like a lot of these bands, are starting to kind of like teeter off. I found out that Sepultura, one of my, favorite bands I love to listen to, their last and final farewell tour is coming up. And I'm just like, and they're coming up in Seattle, not in Portland, but in Seattle up here pretty soon. I'm just like, well, Obituary, fucking, a few other bands playing, god damn it. Well, I'm going to that. Yo, Metal T, taking a train ride with me? Because, like, shit, dude, I ain't missing that. I've seen Sepultura thrice. There ain't no way I'm fucking missing out if this is their last tour. Hell no. Like, It's like, shit, I still gotta see Testament and a few other bands popping through. It's like, fuck, dude, I'm realizing I need to start saving it for that shit on top of paying my homeboy back. It's like, fuck, dude, nah. And I also need to get on a Bluebonnet because some of these bands will sell out fucking quick. Like, I know Testament. I know there's like another band that's coming through in Portland. That's a thick fucking lineup of like 5 or 6 bands. But one of my coworkers I've seen at some of these metal shows, has told me about, and I'm just like, okay, I need to ask him about the dates again, or at least the band, so I can be like, okay, cool, just so I can make sure I get the dates. Because fuck, dude. At least for punk shows, there ain't that much going on outside of like, a few things, going on in like, other states like Washington. There's like a few punk shows in California, like in LA. Like punk scene has, around here is kind of taking a little like, we're recording stuff and shit. But there's like a whole major volume block party that's going on a week after my birthday. So, it's like, all right, well, hey, I think this guy, at least for now, will be like kind of the last big, thing, for the year for at least the punk scene outside of maybe a few other little shows and shit here and there. But, so it seems like at least for this year, the metal underground scene is kind of, taking the reins, while last year was like the punk scenes, the reins. So, because they overlap a lot. Like a lot of these different organizers and groups and shit, that organize a lot of these events and with these different venues and shit like that, like they overlap with the underground metal scene and punk scene around here a lot. Which, if anything, I think shows such a common solidarity between the two as well, and also helping keeping each other alive. Because punks and metalheads, we ain't much different. In fact, a lot of us are pretty much one and the same. I'm a metalhead and a punk. Same with my friend Tyler. Like, he's more of a metalhead, I'm more of a punk, but we're both the same, So it's just like, it's one of those things where, I mean, they overlap a lot.
I think that hardcore punk was pretty dope.
I mean, shit, I would argue that, like, punk kind of came out of, like, more, it kind of came out around the same time, like, thrash metal came around, and thrash metal is just kind of, like, a lot more of a faster, hyper-paced version of punk that's really heavily incorporated metal. I mean, so it's one of those things where they just, like, the rise of, like, a lot of these different subgenres of metal back in, like, the late 70s and 80s and shit, and with, like, with punk rising up, at the same time, like, they really overlap a lot. I don't think, people necessarily realize that a lot. I mean, because I think, people think there might be clashes musically between the two, but there really isn't. In fact, like I said, there's really a lot of, like, commonality between the two. Especially since they're always seen as scapegoats and outcasts of society, especially Christian society kind of thing.
That would be a good name. Like a good online handle or something. Hey guys, Gax Salafenakis here. You guys remember that the slime on what was that? Not Nintendo, you retard. Nickelodeon. Do you guys remember what that's called?
Is this called Nickelodeon slime?
Had a name. The green slime that they would dump on people? Gack.
It was called Gack? Dude, I grew up with this shit. Was it really called Gack? I thought it was just called the Nickelodeon or the Nick slime.
G-A-K. Gack. Is this Alan Moore? I love you. Yes, I'm back from the dead. Here to preach more Buddhism and psychedelia to you. I'm young again. And fat for some reason. Fat as fuck. Yes, it's me.
Yeah, I'm going to take this real quick. I'll just let him keep playing. Why not?
No, dude, it was called Gack, bro.
Hello.
It wasn't called slime. It was called Gack.
Alan Moore isn't dead.
What?
Alan Moore isn't dead.
I thought Alan Moore was dead as a doornail.
No.
Huh.
I'm like 70.
Well, fuck you for thinking I'm 70. I'm not that old yet, okay? Okay, I've had a hard life. I look a little older than I am. But I ain't 70. Fuck you. My father is not even 70. Yet.
Okay, there's one picture, though.
Okay, well, okay. I mean, I can see it. Can I even get the lighting right? Can I recreate this?
This one picture is...
Okay, I can kind of see it. I kind of see it.
He's got curlier hair, though.
He does have curlier hair, yeah, but the beard is dead on. And the nose, too, is like, he's got the triangle of a nose. Got the strong... I've always thought I had a strong profile. I don't look great from head on, because you start to see the fucking mess. But if I'm like this, damn, he could be hot. only from that side though. My other side is
What
horrible.
mess are you even talking about?
This mess.
What?
Wrinkles, crinkles, crow's feet, laugh lines, blackheads, sweaty, splotchy, big birthing scar in the middle of my forehead, all that.
You think you're covered in blackheads and boils and shit? Wrinkles?
Maybe not blackheads and boils, but I do have a lot of crinkles. Like, look at that. Can't deny that.
What's your forehead? That's what foreheads do when you raise your eyebrows.
I look like a fucking Klingon, though. Raise your eyebrows. You've got like one fold. I've got like 20. I look like fucking Lieutenant Worf when I'm surprised. Ancient. Masculine features. I've been told that. One of the things that I'm thankful for, and I'm genuine. I'm being genuine about this. I'm thankful that I never really had a gender crisis at all. Like, I always felt like a man or a boy. I knew that's what I was. And I didn't feel like I was repressed in that way. Like, as far as my expression went. I always got to, dress like a boy. I never wanted to be in a dress. I never wanted to be effeminate. Really.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, I never lived for, a crisis, but I did kind of come from a realization of, I'm chill with being a dude and a bro, but it's not gonna lie, there is an appeal to the femininity aspect of things, I guess, because I like the idea of that shit, but not really as a norm of constant oh, let's do it all the time, but I guess there's a little fluidity to it now, I guess, at this rate.
Maybe some things
because I've always said it's it's if I was born with tits, vagina, or literally all the above, where I have dick, balls, vagina, and tits, or some shit, or whatever. It's I wouldn't care, for me, it's just it's a whatever situation at this point.
Long hair is effeminate. I don't think it is.
I mean, only in very certain cultures and very certain time periods.
Sure.
It's long hair, short hair. It's been all over the place.
Right.
True.
But I've always been very comfortable with whatever the traditional masculine expression in the United States requires. I felt very comfortable in that my whole life, and I'm thankful for that. Because I know that a lot of people.
I'm noticing there's a lot of Christian
nowadays,
Bible thumpers fucking popping in his chat. What the hell?
More of a struggle for them, even if they feel even if they're not gender curious, but they feel like they don't hold up to the ideal of their gender, right? I'm a man, but I don't act like a man, or I'm a man, but I don't feel like I can do the same things as men. And I have that same kind of insecurity. I don't think I could be a killer.
I think for me that's kind of where it kind of comes down to I'm okay with a lot of what can, I guess, supposedly be traditionally masculine in society, but at the same time, I'm not. I could be just as comfortable not expressing that, as well. Whether it's fashionability, aesthetic wise, behaviorally, or otherwise. And in fact, honestly, there's a lot of things that arguably can be pretty toxic and critical, and negative that when it comes to masculinity, maybe as well to the other end of the coin, femininity, but maybe not as much, arguably. And it's that's why I think, being a little more curious and open to these different forms of expression, I think it's just a healthy way of maybe getting through some of that, because realize I don't necessarily have to be masculine, to, deal with this type of stuff, or at least what traditionally is seen as masculine or feminine or otherwise. It's there's, a different healthy kind of third way outlet, so to speak, because really there always has been. There's not really a cohesive, inherent, masculine / feminine thing outside of the bits between your legs, because of biology. But beyond that, when it comes to what's in your head, in the sense of how you want to express yourself, there's nothing stopping you from being one way or the other, or whatever else in between.
Unless somebody was rushing me and I had no other choice, I don't think I could take up arms and go be a soldier guy or whatever the fuck. And that's considered to be a manly trait that I just don't share. Not mechanically inclined beyond a very basic level, and that's not a very manly thing, right? But as far as like the way I express and talk and like all of that and dress, I've always felt very comfortable. And I realize now I think that it's more of a social issue, that that's kind of like a privilege to feel like it's okay on that level because it like kept me from feeling like I didn't belong out in society, I think. When I went out, I didn't always like the way I looked. In fact, most of the time I haven't. Even now, I kind of like, you heard me, I'm just ragging on myself. But as far as like, I feel like gender expression wise, I'm okay going out. You know, like, they're gonna look at me, they're gonna say, "Oh, look at that big dude," and that's what I am. So cool.
And you had a little dysphoria that was like something out of your control.
What do you mean?
A medical issue.
Well, yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah, I mean that's a whole the gynecomastia and shit. But yeah, that was the one time in my life that I struggled with that identity because of that.
But you weren't like, am I really a girl?
No, fuck no. It was like I want these off of me. I would rather have nothing there than this. You know.
So if anything, I mean, there was like a body / gender dysmorphia, but the fact that they were there in the first place was a problem.
My family who raised me.
I mean, for me, like, it's like if they started, like, if I somehow miraculously, in some weird, wild way, just started to develop breasts, I'd be like, well, if they're going to be there, might as well whoop, either grow them or just bring them back to where they were. It's like I would pretty much want one way or the other. I mean, it's not because of the silly idea of like, well, if I had this, I'd just play with them all day. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, you know, hey, if they're there, then they're there, but it's like, whatever. If they're going to be there, I want at least want to let them look nice.
Navy background, meaning all men with short hair, so me wanting to grow my hair out was never possible. It wasn't really that bad for me, but it was considered to be like hippie shit by my parents, which is funny because both of them were kind of hippies, but whatever. You know, hippies learned a lot of self-hatred. And, you know, it was considered kind of hippie shit. Like, my mom loved my hair when I was a baby, and she wouldn't cut it for nothing because it was so beautiful. It was thick and this and that. And she was like, oh. And my dad eventually, like, got tired of hearing me get mistaken for a little girl and told her, you gotta cut my hair. You gotta cut his hair. And it wasn't like a big problem for me. I didn't mind having short hair as a little boy because all the other little boys had short hair. And but I don't remember being dysphoric either, being 5 or 6 and running around with locks. But when my dad finally like fucking stepped in and was like, he needs to be a boy, it wasn't like, oh, my identity was ripped away. It was just my hair. But all throughout my adult life, at various points in my life, I was like, you know what? I want to have long hair. Just fuck it, I can. Like, not like
That's how I always felt. Fuck it, because I can. And plus, you know, I love the voluptuous locks that can come with it.
Starbucks prohibited me from having long hair. I just had to wear it up in a bun or something. So wear a hairnet until it got long enough to do that, right? And so I started trying to grow it out. It's like my girlfriend at the time was like, you look fucking ridiculous. Get rid of it. Go get a fucking haircut. You look stupid. I mean, and you really do.
We didn't have the best girlfriend at that time, though.
Oh, I guess that's true. But, you know, like, that's another thing, too, is like, I don't think of it that way, but is it mean that, like, all the women that I've been with, except for one, other than you, like, half of the women I've been with in my life, basically, have been super critical of, like, how I want to dress, and tell me I look like a slob, and tell me, like...
I mean, that's just fucking shitty, honestly. And I think that really just kind of says, you know, something more about, like, society of, like, this weird fucking standard that ought to be put on people, being like, oh, men ought to be, like, short, crew cut, and coif, and this and that, and blah, 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 blah. You know, and if a lady has someone who doesn't look like that, then, you know, they're, you know, like, obviously, you know, going wrong in life. And I think it kind of goes into some bullshit like that. And it's just, like, for me, that's just fucking ridiculous and just shouldn't be a thing. Because, like, that's, I mean, like, because, like, how one wants to express themselves or, like, do what they want in life, you know, shouldn't it, like, be a mirror on, like, some societal norm. Like, you know, the only norm in that should be, like, you know, let people express themselves how they want to. because at the end of the day, people are going to be attracted to people that express themselves in a way that they like. So like why not just allow like normalization of that, where people can at least like actually see an expression of who people are, and if they are into that, then they're into it, instead of this weird like you know like surface bullshit where it's just like you're kind of faking it till you make it, and then you kind of show your true cards kind of thing. Like there's an ambiguity and almost like a weird anonymity to that, where it's like it's kind of a wonder why so many different relationships end up like crashing and burning a lot because of stuff like that.
But isn't that like what every dude goes like? Isn't that a very common thing? Like women want men to like look more business-like or more like dressed up or more like clean cut.
I don't know all women, but like yeah, it's just constant put downs.
Well, let me tell you a story, because this is a crazy story, right? So my first relationship, long-term relationship, real adult relationship. I've told you about her. I lost a ton of weight. I got a Nutrisystem, and I got down to like 240 pounds, like the lightest.
I remember a Nutrisystem back in the day.
Right, I was fucking fit.
I think my mom was into that for a little bit.
Me, my frame, looked good, and I didn't know how to dress because I'd been fat since the 6th grade.
You were always hiding.
Right, and so everything that I wore, I mean, it wasn't even just hiding. It was like coming from the 90s too. Everything's fucking extra. Like if you wore a 2XL, you got a 4XL. Everything was extra big, and so that was you can see my shit has not changed. Like I still want to dress that way, but she took me out. She was like, "We're getting you a few new outfits," and she took me on like a day where it was like she got my hair cut, my beard trimmed. Right, I wasn't long haired, but it was like shaggy, and my beard was kind of grown out a little, long. Not this. Took me to a fucking thing to get my hair done up and my beard trimmed up, all nice and fucking business-like. Took me to these stores in the mall that I've never walked into because they don't have anything bigger than XL, like the Gap, right?
The fucking Gap.
This fucking wardrobe of clothes that I never would have touched, right? But I let her do it because I was like, this is how it's supposed to dress. And I remember the first time she put me on one of those. I hadn't seen it yet. I was just in the dressing room thing, and I had to step out. And
you don't have mirrors in the men's dressing rooms?
Well, sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a little closet in there, and the mirror is outside, and you pull the mirror back, the curtain back, and there's the mirror. And she was standing out there, and I hadn't even seen myself yet. And she was like, "Oh my god, you look fucking amazing!" And she stepped out of the way, and I didn't even recognize the person standing there. It was fucking weird.
Whoa!
I looked great, like from an outsider perspective, like in terms of like. I'd hire that guy to be my stock analyst or whatever.
Like a fitted shirt.
I had a fitted shirt on with a vest, but like a fashionable one, like not a tech vest or something, like with like no tie, but like buttoned up shirt with the collar out. That pair of slacks that were just like slim cut, so not like tight, but like not baggy at all. And I was just like, who the fuck is that?
Jesus.
Whoa. And she bought me a whole, like, fucking 5 or 6 of these outfits. It cost like $1,000.
What the fuck?
And I think I wore all of that shit one time before I just said, I'm not wearing this shit anymore. It just wasn't me. It was like, but that's what she wanted me to be and look like. So the message to me with that whole incident was like, you don't look the way you should. And the way you want to look, the way that you want to see yourself when you look in the mirror is fucking gross and hippie-ish and stinky looking and ugly and all that.
At least in perspective of his girlfriend and wife at the time. I mean, it's like if that it's like pretty much like enabling this weird guilt trip and kind of like this sense of like, whoa, well, you're just ugly, washed out, and blah blah blah. Like, I mean, I definitely will even call myself like a crust punk, for example, because crust punks are known for being like, well, crusty and not like the most well kept. But it's just like, I mean, a lot of that's more or less just appearance. I mean, a lot of that isn't actually, being like some unsanitary weird fuck or whatever and just being gross. Like, a lot of it's just more or less almost like an appearance to it. like, yeah, sure, it might look dirty, but it's not like actually legit dirty. It just kind of looks like that a little bit because, I mean, it's an old shirt that's probably been worn around for a while, and the stains are kind of like stuck in there for a minute, kind of thing. It's like it's one of those type of things where it's not like it's just like using like a lot of the old and just kind of like patching it up over time, and instead of just getting something new. I mean, it's pretty much like that kind of shit.
And ever since then, I feel like that's kind of been what people are like with me. Well, at least like the first two big long-term relationships. My first wife, which was that second relationship after the first one fell apart, was did not want me fucking running around looking like a hippie. She would call me a hippie all the time if I was trying to grow my hair out. She would remind me of how much her dad hated hippies and shit, blah, blah, blah. And it was just like, I would get to a certain length where I started to feel like, oh man, it's starting to look good, cool. It's going to be fucking, I'm going to have long hair, man. And then she'd fucking step in, and tell me how fucking ridiculous I looked and how shitty it was going to look and how I needed to trim off that beard, blah, blah, blah. And I'd shave my whole face sometimes because I just got tired of hearing it. But I always wanted a beard. Like even back in high school, I had a couple friends that like had early sprouting beards and goatees and shit. I couldn't grow fucking hair from here to here until I was like 28.
God damn it! Don't tell me that, because that's kind of how it is for me.
My mustache was weak sauce and the goatee was weak sauce. I could do nothing but grow these big ass fucking mutton chops. So that's what I had in high school. I grew big.
Man, I could barely get that shit going. It just shows that I ain't gonna get the most biggest voluptuous beard, but I don't really necessarily need that. I just want like some nice stuff right here. That's all I really care about.
Big way,
especially right here.
Beards and weird mutton.
So I could just go like
skater, whatever.
Would you ever mutton chop it up again?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've thought about like not mutton chopping, but like shaving everything from here down. So like imagine like all of that is gone and it's just a bridge over my lip and then two big fucking like sea admiral mutton chops. I think would look pretty cool.
Dude, that'd be fucking awesome.
It's like the only fucking downside is I've got to like.
Well, the downside is you need to stick to the aesthetic and get yourself a nice fat fucking like Napoleonic era admiral's captain hat or some shit, and like get a nice cool pea coat. That's what Paul needs, dude. Because that would be bad fucking ass. If he like decided to shave everything right here and then just like keep those big ass like sideburns and shit, and then just like the mustache, bro, that would look fire. He just needs like a fancy ass like admiral's cap from like the Napoleonic era.
My beard real short, but
that'd be dope.
The lady that did my haircut trimmed my beard pretty short. Now look at it. The Lemmy from fucking what you call it?
Motorhead.
If you want to gamble,
It might be cool to do, like, if you ever get your lip done.
Good old Lemmy Kilmister.
My lip done, what do you mean?
Like if you got it pierced.
Oh, got my lip pierced again, or like, whatever the fuck. Get my snake bites.
I had to shave it, so it's, like, extra prominent.
Yeah. That's
Did you like that at all, or no?
What?
The lip.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really loved it. But a couple of things happened that made me question it. Number one, it never like stopped because like I would have to take it out for work. There was nothing I could wear in it that I was allowed to put in it. It was like my eyebrow.
At least nowadays, even my work would probably at least be okay with like a piercing or something.
Be able to get away with
it. Just couldn't be like hand jewelry specifically. I mean, they never mentioned anything about these, so these are fine, I guess. It's just like can't be the hands or whatever.
Captive ball ones, taking both the balls off of it, just leaving the bar in.
Yeah.
Because it didn't really show.
Well, they have like fancier stuff now that like.
I'm sure they had something back then, but like nothing.
You didn't have Amazon to go get it easy.
No, and I didn't. Piercing shops weren't a thing. It was just like you had to kind of like get what you got.
Yeah.
And I had a spike, and I really liked that. I thought it was cool, but I got in not a fight myself, but I had to jump in and pull a guy off of another guy, and an elbow caught me right there. And it hurt him, like made him bleed, and it fucked up my teeth. It didn't break them, but like scraped against my gums and shit.
Ooh.
And it kind of tore the hole. Like when his elbow hit it, it kind of like ripped against.
Ow.
And so I just took it out after that, and I never put it back in because I was like, man, if I get slapped in the mouth or something, I'm gonna break my fucking teeth out. So.
Oof.
And
we have different backs now too. They're probably a little bit better.
I like the way it looked. I don't know that I'd do a spike again, but I always thought snake bites were cool. Or like, what do they call the ones where it's like on your lip, kind of like
lip ring?
You know what I mean, though, right? The one that's not below your lip, it's like through your lip.
A lip ring?
In the middle or off to the side. I like those too. But the labrae, I think looked cool on me, or at least I liked the way it looked.
I mean, honestly, if I were to ever do a piercing, I'd probably just do like one on the nose or maybe like something on the eyebrow or some shit for myself. I mean, just because it wouldn't be like, that major, but also it'd be pretty simple and not that big of a deal.
But it was just impractical as fuck for me.
I definitely am over the piercings. I have too many of them, like, rejected stuff. So, like, I just want to stick with the ones that are still working.
Yeah, I mean...
I still don't know how to take this out.
Yeah, even if you wanted to take out your conch, it's probably not a good idea to take it out. You should probably, if you like it, you should probably just leave it in there.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like, if I ever wanted to change it, I think I would just have to go into a place.
It's probably just like one of those ones where they have to squeeze it with some ply. I could probably get it off your ear if you want, but
I mean, it ain't bugging me.
I could take some wire clippers to it.
It gets
some homemade surgery.
Just like if I ever did want to.
That'll probably fuck the ear up, though.
You have to go through the ringer to do it. So funny.
Oh my god!
I think it looks pretty on you, though. I always liked your conch. I always thought that maybe that's something I'd do too. Because the thing with me is, it's like I love my gauges, but who the fuck knows I have them?
You can barely see your ears.
You reached your stretch limit.
Shit.
I definitely hit mine because like it was just too uncomfortable.
For me, see, this is a 0. I can't even fucking show you. That's a 0, right? And for me, that was big back in the day. Like, it wasn't the biggest. People were just doing 00, 000.
Dude, and nowadays, motherfuckers literally are putting goddamn fucking, like, plates in their fucking ears now. Or, like, soda cans and shit. It's like, people are just going hardcore with that shit. That's, like, a huge trend, too, for, like, in the mid-2010s and shit. For a minute.
And so I keep them, when my hair's up, my beard's trimmed. People look at me in profile, they see them, I guess. But it's not really about other people seeing them. I like just having them. I like knowing they're there. It's like a part of my day to make sure my plugs didn't come out at night, Take them out when I shower, clean them real good, pop them in.
My ear piercings weren't straight, and they were always fucky. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to stretch them out. We'll straighten out that way.
Yeah.
I got it done at a Walmart, my ear piercings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with one of those guns.
I had mine done.
That sounds like the worst way to get them. What the fuck? Yeah, I got a piercing at Walmart with one of the piercing guns. Like, what the fuck, dude?
You can't even get it done because it's so hard.
Sounds fucking whack, bro.
Hollow needle punch to a tube. So, like, a plug came out of my ear like that.
Yeah.
Just like.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
But you know what, dude? Never had problems regaging. Can always stretch back up if I take them out. Like, that's why he did it. My friend Ben, who was in a piercing, he had big fat gauges, and he told me, he was like, they won't even do these in the shop, but some shops will do it, but I know how to hollow needle, so I'll get a. So he autoclaved his hollow needle and plugged me, and it hurt, and it took fucking like a month and a half to scab over and heal, and so you had to clean it, disinfect it. But after going through that, I've never had to fuck with my ears, ever.
Well, that's kind of how like my belly button is too. It took forever to heal, but now it's just fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the stupid dermals I had, I should have known better. I was just all fucked up.
I mean, I don't know.
I always find it fascinating that, like, humanity's always been, like, into, like, doing tats and piercings and shit. like, cause I mean, especially if you look at like various different indigenous tribes, from like even whether it's depictions or even in like the modern day, like there's always like like sometimes like different uh like elements of like having piercings of like bone through the ears or like different gauges and shit. I find it so fascinating, it's so cool that humanity's always been kind of into weirdly like modifying themselves and like kind of like presenting themselves in ways that aren't traditionally like naturally man, so to speak. I always found that such a really cool, fascinating thing.
Like maybe you're
I guess also especially as furry because there's like almost like kind of a weird sense of animism as well to it too. Like the idea of like kind of taking form of an animal in a way and like kind of you know kind of escaping the human form almost kind of shit. It's really fascinating stuff to me.
I don't think it was dumb to try it.
So I'm more into that kind of shit. If I were to be like into like religion, it'd probably be maybe like some variation of some random stuff like that. Just because like I mean yeah, like to me that just seems a lot more cooler and awesome in comparison to like oh worship Jesus or something. It's like good lord, give me a break.
Most of them too close together. I think if I had just done like one or two, but when I kept adding more, I think it fucked it all up.
Probably. I never got to see you with your dermals.
Yeah.
I used to have a burly beard and my hair down to my ass. So many people would give me looks. I cut my hair recently and took my plugs out. I like a freshly made sim character now. I look like a freshly made sim. Dude,
damn.
Back in the 90s, I had a friend, Matt, and he got a punch in his cartilage. It was that, like, it had to be like a...
Was it a conch punch?
Yeah. Straight through the top part of it, like this part, the meaty part of his cartilage, and he would wear a thing through it, and it was super prominent. Like when he turned his head, you could see through his ear, you see daylight.
Oh shit!
And I was like, because I'd always heard like you can stretch out your ears, and there's a surgery where they can sew it back together if they get really blown out, and you look pretty normal. But like if you punch out your cartilage, you're basically like fucked. I mean, you can probably get a flesh tone plug made that doesn't show unless somebody really inspects. But as far as like that healing up, it's gone. Yeah.
Shit.
But they did the same thing to him. That was a hollow needle, like a big razor needle that you. Which I don't even know that like piercing shops will even do that type of shit.
Not really.
I mean, I bet some of them do, but I bet you have to be vetted through, and you have a specialty, and you got to sign the waiver and the whole fucking nine.
Yeah, they don't just like offer it to anyone that walks in. No. You probably have to be well known for them.
But the eyebrow, tongue, and labret got done at the same piercing shop down in Blackstone. It's gone now. It's been like torn down. I think it's like near where the auto mall is there, or was near there. Oh no. Like Chipotle's and fucking
Chipotle's and fucking strip malls.
Yeah, I got all those done at the same piercing.
I hate when you got like local businesses that just go out of business and become just bullshit like that. There used to be a place called Bernard's Workshop that is now just a bunch of fucking apartments and like empty lots where they're supposed to be businesses, but no one's taking up residence and and taking up shop in any of them yet at all. Probably because they're fucking ridiculously retardedly expensive to fucking, stake up shop there or whatever. So it's like you got these random little chunks of like, the first floor just being empty lots. And then you got like the apartments above. And it's like, really? It's like, I mean, there was like this fucking, like auto shop that's been there where people... As far as I can remember, I've always went in there for business. It's not like they were like a slowly but surely failing business. They probably just got enough fuck you money where they said, well, this is enough for retirement. Fuck it. But luckily, I mean, there's actually a few things that, still remain that are actually at the museum, the Milwaukee Museum that's out here. And the whole wrench for Bernard's workshop, it's over there now. So they at least kept that and, donated to that. And I was like, all right, and that's at least nice. But it's like, goddamn it, dude. Motherfucker.
Shop or anything, but
I thought I heard him murmuring of something.
Out, they didn't care. I was young. Well, I had the money. They didn't give a fuck. my parents, always told me like you can have them call us or if we need to come with you, but it was never an issue. Like, I never had to have my parents go hold my hand. Like, I got my eyebrow pierced at 15, no problem. Have the money. Had my tongue pierced at 17 and my lip ray at 18.
Hey, I wish my parents would chill with this.
What was the story of the tongue coming out?
So you know this, or I think I've told you. I'm like partially tongue tied. So that thing underneath my tongue, it goes almost all the way to the tip of my tongue, and they had to pierce me at such an extreme angle that the ball would sit right there.
And it was up in the back of your teeth and shit.
I mean, it was just weird the angle it was at. And it would it would irritate the bottom of my mouth because it was like, it had a weird spot right up against your gums on the inside. And so I just stopped wearing it because I wore it for years. Though. It was the easiest one for me to get away with wearing at work because it really didn't show much on me unless I went.
But it was just awkward.
Yeah, it just wasn't, I don't know, it just never really availed me of much. Like, I honestly felt like it got in the way of doing the thing that's supposed to enhance for me.
I mean, I guess in a sense, I mean, it would kind of like be an adjustment because now you got like these two little balls, that are going to be there now. And normally your tongue and your mouth is not really normally used to that. So now it's going to have to adjust to that a little bit in some way.
It didn't help.
I've always thought about maybe doing a tongue piercing for, reasons. And it's just like, on one hand, it's like, yeah, that would be kind of an adjustment. I don't know if I want to deal with that.
Didn't help with my pussy eating game. Kind of hurt my pussy. I mean, you could use the little ball at the bottom of your tongue, but like that's a weird angle.
Same for dick sucking. At least you can actually use it
really
for that.
Didn't enhance anything, and it didn't show off unless I deliberately showed it off. Like it wasn't like visually all that interesting. Because like, look, when I talk, even if I didn't have the mustache, it'd probably be a little easier to see my tongue. That's not like my tongue. I don't have a big open when I'm talking.
Probably because of the tongue tie.
Probably, yeah. I stutter sometimes. I have trouble with certain like vowels, and it's not like an actual stutter. It's just a consequence of my tongue not having the mobility of other people's tongues in language.
It's kind of the same way for me, honestly. That's why I tend to have like my Biden mannerism moments or like, my little tongue twist moments and shit. Because, I mean, and also on top of that, sometimes my brain's thinking way faster than how I'm speaking. So I'll like have a whole sentence completed, but then I'll be like, so then, and then I'll have like my brain say the last little bit of sentence and they'll be like, what the, but, and then I have to kind of like, well, okay, I just made a retard moment, and I have to be like, okay, hold on now.
So I can do things. I've just had to learn how to shape my mouth and how to use my tongue to make the noise in the proper way that normally I probably would have learned how to do it completely different. There are certain things I just can't do, like whistling with my fingers. That requires you push up against your fingers with your tongue in a certain way, and I just don't have enough tongue there to do it.
I don't even really need to do it with my mouth. I just have to do it with my, just do this. There we go.
We're into your beard. Yes. So both, like my ex prior to Amelia and now my wife Amelia, both really loved my beard. Never bitch about the beard.
Beards are good.
Nice.
And stuff.
Have I asked you to change anything that you can remember?
You asked me not to change certain things.
Is that also as bad, you think?
No. That's actually kind of nice. Okay. I like the way you look. Cool. I don't mind, like, input, but like I said, I've normalized it in my life. It's just, this is a part of the male-female relationship. Is the woman is critical of the man's looks, the man is never critical of the woman's looks. I just don't even think in terms of criticism when I see you.
Well, I mean, like, if you feel like I'm putting too much pressure on you to be a certain way, or to stay a certain way and you want to change something.
No, I don't feel that at all. It's just more like, I like the compliment of it. It feels nice to have a positive thing said about how you like to look and not a negative thing. It does. I don't feel like I have to keep my hair this way or I have to keep my beard a certain length or whatever just that you actually like it. You think it looks nice on me, and you don't think it looks weird, and you're not ashamed to be seen with me and stuff with it. And that's all I really care about. Because a couple of them are like,
I mean, honestly, I mean, this is kind of how I think relationships, especially a healthy one, ought to be. It's like it's okay to have critique, but also have compliments. Where it counts, especially. I think it's a part of like having that healthy dynamic of a relationship. Because it's okay to be like, hey, I think you might be slacking or this and that, or I think you might look a little better if you try this out, or something. But what do you think about it? Or some shit. Like there's all okay to have like a healthy dynamic with stuff like that, but especially with like small spats, with like some of those relationships being hypercritical and the idea of the normalization of like, oh, the man never critiques the woman, and the woman is like the free Wayne, so to speak, free reign. I mean, I think honestly, like, well, there's both ways. I think it's okay. I think it just needs to be seen as a sense of just like constructive like thing where it's like, well, I mean, I don't really necessarily think you look great in, this outfit, but I think it would look really nice in this outfit. I mean, what do you think? I mean, it's like, there's a lot of these different really cool outfits and stuff, but it's like, I'm a little more privy to these type of things, but it's like, what do you think? Kind of thing. And just have like a little back forth. So like, well, I really love this outfit, but it's like I also like this one. Yeah, I know you like that one, but it's like I wore that last week, and I don't really want to keep wearing that all the time. And I know you're a fan of that one, but it's also not really my favorite. But maybe I'll wear it out for this night out. See how it works. Kind of thing or some shit. I mean, I think it's okay to have like those type of like compliments, actually like kind of constructive, complimentary kind of critiques, kind of thing. But it has to be done in a way. It has to just be seen as like a sense of honesty and also like humility in a way, where it's like you're not, where it's not I have disrespect because like, oh, you look ugly and that it kind of bullshit. Like, cause that's just toxic. And I ain't gonna like do anything besides just make someone more insecure about themselves. Like, oh, you look like a fucking dirty hippie. Yeah. Oh, you look tacky in that dress, or whatever the fuck. I mean, that's just like that ain't gonna be anything productive.
first two exes would straight up tell me like I like it. I feel lame standing next to you. I feel like I put a little effort into looking kind of nice when we go out, and you look like a fucking slob, hippie,
That shit.
douchebag, whatever the fuck.
That's the shit I'm talking about.
And skater fucking guy stuck in high school,
little
whatever,
skater punk, douchebag, hippie bro.
That type of mentality was super strong in them. And it was like,
Definitely some bullshit, that's for sure.
so it feels nice to not have that be part. But, I think a lot of that, not to psychoanalyze myself too deep, but I think a lot of that started in high school with Tammy because of the way that she was very hesitant to do anything physical with me in public because that would mean we were dating. I think it was more about that with her, but I also think she probably wanted to be with a dude that was like fit and maybe like way taller than her. And I didn't get taller than her. My growth spurt happened sophomore year over the summer. Sophomore to junior year, I grew like 5 inches. But I was still kind of like her height when I first got into her, and fat, kind of like childlike.
I mean, I bet like a lot of that has to do with high school insecurity, where it's like you don't want to like be up front, or like even if it does happen to be in that toxic way, it's like being up front, be like, hey, I don't like the way you look. I mean, this and that. And there's like a sense of high school insecurity where it's like you're never able to really kind of like confront that type of shit, and you always kind of like have to do this kind of weird weasel stuff. I mean, that happens so much. I did it. It's just I think something that happens, in that period. It's just like the awkward period kind of thing, where it's like you're trying to adult a little bit because high school is kind of like that phase in education for a kid where it's like, well, you need to start being an adult a little bit, and like figure that out. It's like at least start to realize that and figure that out. It's like so. I think at least for the social element, that's where it comes into, with this type of stuff. And a lot of ways, it just never really ends up being that great. Not like it ever doesn't, but it's just like, I think a lot of times, kids just certainly don't really got like, the education or like the development to really understand these type of things. It's, probably honestly more than ever, frankly. And, and they need, like these type of outlets and need proper like, you know, education on these type of things. And I think especially now more than ever, this stuff that especially I was talking about is just probably way worse.
Almost. It took me a while for puberty to like kick in my face, so I had that very round, kind of like soft face. And I just think I didn't look like the type of guy she wanted to see her people to see her kissing. She wanted to kiss a dude that looked like a fucking badass skater guy with a beard or whatever. That's the kind of guy that she would like not lust, but like idolize in the movies when she'd giggle with other girls about the hot guy in the movie. It was never a fucking numpty little fat kid. It was always a good-looking, statuesque dude, And
as the Zoomers and the Alpha kids would say, with the generations these days, a Chad, a Giga Chad, my boo.
I like got it in my head that like, man, I'm really gonna have to play on the fucking personality here, because if I'm trying to land somebody that's physically interested in me, that's just never gonna happen. And I just kind of labored under that assumption for most of my life. For my first 2 relationships, I just felt like I was.
They just settled or whatever.
Yeah, it was like, oh, and I used to rationalize it too, because I used to be like, oh yeah, women don't prioritize looks as much, but it's like they do and they don't. Like men are obviously more tuned to look at looks first and then personality, but it's not always that way. I don't feel like either of them, because it's not like I looked any different when I got with these women. So it's like, I had this like kind of complex where it was like I got women, but they weren't really into me. They just kind of like were like they needed it. They liked my personality and that I'm a nice guy, and or whatever. But they didn't like me physically, and it was always an imposition for them to fuck me or to do.
I mean, I kind of feel like that's a little bit like how it was for me, but maybe the opposite. Because, like, at least in high school for me, I was kind of an awkward fuck, especially. So, but there was kind of a sense of like, I kind of have like this kind of young suave looking, kind of look to me, and I've always had like a very that like I mean my face hasn't really changed much outside of probably being less rounded, when like from high school in comparison to now. But I mean there wasn't really much of a difference, like after like sophomore year I kind of like got skinny and started growing a lot myself, but I mean like I never really stopped growing up until about like 19 maybe, probably around then. Because I was still about like 6 foot when I was like 18 or some shit. But then I got like another 2 more inches and I'm like 6'2". So it's one of those things where, like my spurts, kind of came in waves. But despite that, at least for me, I think a lot of it was just due to maybe a lack of charisma. But I still kind of had at least like the sense of looks where people were like, kind of thing. Or at least nowadays, where now I got at least a little bit of both, even though I'm not like the most like sociable person where I go out of my way to be like, "Hey, how y'all doing?" Yeah, so, but there's at least like an element of like attractiveness, and even in the charismatic sense, because I'll chat people and talk to people, but it's like, I mean, it's one of those things where people kind of have to approach me first, but it's like I'm not always like overly going to go out of my way to be like, "Hey, what's up, yo?" Blah. But I mean, sometimes I will. At least if I already got acquainted with you, I'll be like, "Hey, what's up? Yeah, how you doing?" Blah, 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 blah. Then I'll pop by and like maybe eavesdrop on a conversation and shit like that. Especially last Saturday, I like to carry Eric bar, for example. Like, I mean, it's especially since I'm like a known quantity at that place. Even when I'm streaming, like sometimes I'll straight up just abandon streams, just say fuck it, just because like honestly, like I can just at least trust a lot of the regulars and maybe not fucking my shit outside of that one time last Friday where someone moved the entire stream to like somewhere else. And I was like, what the fuck? That was, I still got to go back on that stream and check out what the hell happened with that.
And that fucked me up. Fucked me up big. never been able to fucking really sync that up properly, you know. But I also normalized it because I just would see other dudes' girlfriends saying the same shit. You know, it was just like a funny thing when they would do it in public, criticize how you look like a slob in public. Everybody would laugh. You know what I mean? And you would have to laugh along. And it was a joke. Sometimes it was funny, the little barbs, but I would never be like, you look like a slovenly bitch today. Never would that go over, you know.
I
Never would I have the impulse to even say that. So it's like
double standard.
you look like a whore. You know what?
It's like the unfortunate double standard of society a little bit. Not that that type of stuff should be okay, but the fact that, like, for example, like at a bar, maybe someone during a karaoke song, they can go shirtless really quick and be like, woo, you know, but a chick can never do that. You know, and also, like, you know, a woman can basically be like, well, you look very shitty and look like a dirty fucking hippie and a fatty, you know, today, you know, but, you know, it's like, there's kind of some double standard bullshit with that, and it's just a societal thing, I think. It's not because of, like, femininity, patriarchy, or matriarchy. It's not, it's just a societal thing, and frankly, a lot of it's due to like patriarchal shit. I mean, arguably, frankly, but a lot of that also is just a societal norm of like what is ought to be okay kind of thing. It's like, frankly, it's just across the board, toxicity should not be allowed. But it's like the ability to be like, hey, you know, freed the titty, so to speak, or freed the nip, you know, slash like being able to have like a constructive criticism or at least a critique about, you know, somebody. I mean, like, there should at least be an equal standard of these kind of things, and I think there can at least be a healthy balance of that, and being able to call people out for being a douchebag and a shithead or an asshole or whatever about these type of things, while still at least being able to kind of like find that balance, because it's annoying. I you know, just, you know, these type of double standards, two-faced bullshit just gets so annoying to me. I think, you know, the one thing, especially when it comes to like size slash politics, because we live in a society, you know, just with that trope. It's like, I mean, there's just always this like this weird hypocritical like two-faced hypocrisy that like comes in to play with a lot of things, you know, of how people present themselves, and it's like, man, come on. It just really adds a lot of bullshit where there not ought to be any.
Those types of things about women. Like, I just don't. I'm not trying to be a white knight or whatever, but like, I've said stupid shit like me and Andrew calling a slut or a cunt or something. But like, as far as me like looking at a way a woman dresses and if she's provocative, I mean, of course, like to the extreme. If she's like got thigh boots and a thong and, you know, nipple tassels on and she's walking with other women that look like her on the, you know, like, there is a certain level of obvious prostitute, but like, you know, I see one with like a midriff or her titties fucking barely covered or her ass out, and I'm not like, what a cunt, what a slut, what a dirty bitch. I bet she fucks every dick in sight. I bet she fuck freak. You know, I just never made that like, because I never like broadcast anything about how I fuck with the way I dress. You know. So, kind of assumed that was more like they like to look like that and I like to look like this, and sex is a whole different ball game.
And honestly, I think that's kind of how it ought to really be treated when it comes to how people dress, but some people just don't necessarily feel that way, and that's why this whole idea of like, oh well, women dress provocatively and men, you know, sometimes, you know, can't look so gross and slobbishly, because like they can't really help but like overlap the two, and it's like, who gives a fuck? Because honestly, that, you know, fat slobbish guy probably is, you know, banging some hella good pussy. Okay, I mean, because that is possible, and that is certainly a thing. You know, and maybe that like person dressing overtly slutty probably ain't getting that much. You know, who knows? I mean, you don't fucking know. I mean, so it's like, I mean, how someone dresses doesn't exactly, you know, dictate how their behavior is.
I might like looking at a pair of Lululemon fucking yoga pants or something, but it's a difference between like browsing with your eyes and what you're thinking about that person, right? Like,
yeah,
you know,
I say there is. Because I'll admit, my eyes, catch a glance.
Kind of
Especially at the bar, to be fucking frank. I mean, sometimes my eyes will do a little browse and be like, nice booty. Ooh, that guy looks kind of cute. Ooh, she's kind of thick and adorable. Sometimes, I mean, honestly, because, I stream to karaoke stream, sometimes you'll notice I'll kind of look around and glance and shit. It's kind of looking at stuff because, wait for my turn while I'm, like, kind of drinking my drink or whatever. Maybe just seeing, who's around, maybe I could chat with or whatever the fuck, it's like, I mean, shit, it's like, it's not like an unusual thing for that to happen. I think, honestly, that's alright, because people, like, do, like, a, people observation thing where they kind of, like, do, people gazing almost, kind of like bird watching. It's like people watching thing. Where it's like, kind of, seeing what people are doing and maybe eavesdropping a little bit, kind of. I mean, I don't really necessarily think there's anything wrong with that. As long as they're not making it like this, like, I wonder if I, could maybe get nip ants, or, ooh, look at this.
into being more provocatively dressed. But then,
By your boyfriend?
Yeah, but then I would like hit a limit, and then it would start being like making. It was like I thought like I was working towards what he wanted with the outfit that day, but then it hit this wall where he thought I went too far.
So he thought it got like too provocative. Yeah. I think that was more just about control than a critique of how you dress. But I'm glad that you don't feel like you're under that fucking kind of pressure with me, because I want you to be comfortable. I think you're beautiful at times when you probably think you're at your worst. But that's just the truth.
Aww.
You know what I mean?
Aww.
Men are very visual creatures.
I'm not even saying that in a mean way. That's adorable. That's so sweet.
Your physical beauty is like notable to me, no matter whether you just woke up or whether you are dolled up,
Oh, that's so sweet.
Well, that's very nice for you, and I have a hard time in believing it, and it's not because I disbelieve you. It's just because my brain I've never been able to get over some of that shit.
Got a better bedhead than me, I think.
And that's just kind of like, because I lean into the kind of bummy look, and so if my head is raggedy, sometimes it looks kind of cool. It looks like a rock star,
Living like a rock star.
My hair's the only good thing I got, baby, is basically what I'm telling you.
No.
That's bullshit, Paul.
Genetically, I got fucked in every other way.
Nah, you got the beard, you got the hair, you got, the jolly face. I mean, come on, Paul. Bullshit.
The hair. I'll die with a full head of hair, baby. I'll look great.
It took a long time to get gray, too.
Well, I'm still not, I mean, a lot of guys in their mid-40s are already pretty fucking gray, and I'm still holding on.
Some streaks.
I've got a lot of streaks.
Dude, my brother's not even 40 yet. He's already got, like, some hella gray hairs. But you know what? It looks hella good on him, though. I mean, my brother has actually legit lost a lot of weight. Like, it's kind of got, like, this little silver fox look a little bit. He's honestly legit looking good for himself. I mean, it's just, like, one of those things where it's like, I mean, I kind of remember him being a lot more pushy and, a little acne and stuff like that. And it's like, shit. It's like, like, seeing how he is, now lately, especially last time I saw him, it's like, shit, man. It's like, you really do legit look good right now. You legit kind of almost have, like, this, like, I'm young and still kind of spry, but I got a silver fox look. It's like, shit. It actually really does look good for him.
Growing a lot down here. Because my hair's...
Low key, he should kind of start growing a little bit of, like, something around here. I mean, I think it would kind of look good if he had, like, maybe not, like, a hardcore thing going on, but maybe, like, a little, like, I don't know, like, almost like kind of a French, like, like, maybe, like, kind of like a diamond thing going on here, and then maybe, like, a little something that kind of, like, morphs with that, kind of. I think I look pretty good at that shit.
Now in the whole, because remember, I had my hair long.
Like a tight and neat, goatee thing going on.
It started, like, 6 years ago. It's like, now I've got my hair chopped back, and now those gray streaks have grown down into the length, and, like, look at that. Like, when the light hits that, you can see all the gray. But I love it, though.
It looks hella blonde to me, honestly. But I like it, though. Either way, it looks dope.
I'm loving getting old from a graying perspective because I think it just looks cool and wizardly. So fuck you. You know what I mean? I can't wait. I'm ready. It's happening in my beard. I'm getting the white spot. Fucking.
Do you think you'd want to do a reset once you see like the grays coming in?
Oh yeah.
More, like,
Well, because I don't want to be one of those old dudes that's got like his fucking hair from 30 years ago still hanging off his chin. You know what I mean? It looks a little weird. So yeah, I'll do a fucking like not a full cut, but like
a crop to let the gray stand.
I mean,
out.
maybe just a series of them. Like all I'd have to do is get one haircut and then another one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Up to here, and we're good. We're golden.
Hey.
But yeah, I definitely like equalize, but I don't think I'm gonna need to. The way it's happening in strands. I think it's just gonna slowly but surely.
Yeah, well, it's just like replacing the ones that.
I mean, honestly, the kind of the little like blend of that kind of like brown blondish, like kind of silver look, kind of really looks, especially in this low light, looks really good. I like it.
Which is constant, by the way. I shed like a fucking sheepdog. I'll pass on the grays for as long as possible, dude. Nuggy.
Do you brush your hair when it's still wet?
No.
Okay.
I learned that lesson because that breaks your hair.
Yep, and also you take out way more clumps when you do that. Don't do that. I mean, you want to like dry your hair off first, let it kind of like, air dry for a while, and then, later down the line you want to brush it.
When my hair is dry, I will sometimes put it up in a ponytail or something, but I never brush it wet.
Yeah. You do go to sleep with your hair wet though.
I do, that's bad.
Don't do that. Yeah. The knots and the fucking bullshit that you'll get in your head. Oh my god, I've done that. And the hurricane, like hairnado shit that happens on your head is bonk, bro.
Guy. But I'm not as bad as some dudes would be. Like if you take care of your hair, it looks nice. I keep it clean.
Well, it's not that it looks bad.
That's why I like shave the sides, honestly. It may or may not, like say fucking do like a pompadour mode thing. Just because of that, honestly. I mean, because at that point, if there's any knots or bullshit, it's just at the back. And it's not that hard to just like brush the back and then like kind of work my way up and then just like do a quick little, get a little gel in like, in a comb and like do a little slick back. Slip back. Oh, slip back. Kind of shit. And like just kind of like do a little puff and just like let it do its thing. Even if I wear it, at least it'll like start molding and sticking like that a little bit. So even over time, as it starts growing back, even with this going on, a lot of this shit, even with the sides, if I decide to grow that out, will kind of start slicking back a little bit. And eventually kind of start molding and growing this way. So even if I have all this hair long again, and like about like as long as it is now, over time, then I can at least, like have it all slicked back like it is now with everything doing this, kind of shit. Because with all this shit, like this short bullshit, after, all these years and with all this shit, like it will kind of like do this little like kind of slick, kind of like curve shit a little bit, one way or the other. So it's like, I might as well at this rate because I already got like this very front layer that's already wanting to do that. So it's like I won't have this anymore, but I could still have like a ponytail back here and have like a gigantic fucking like actual literal like pony like tail kind of thing. Short like, a mane right here and a tail in the back, dude. Pony mane here, tail in the back.
Like that might cause more of the break.
Yeah. It happens no matter what I fucking do. Like when I wash my hair, I literally pull out a fistful of, especially when it was super long. Now that it's like,
dude, that's long, my bane.
It's not as heavy and it's not snapping as much. But yeah, like
speaking of which, though, I know Zukov and I are definitely gonna be doing that
I
tonight.
could just run my hand down my wet hair, just very
it's
lightly.
It's gonna get nasty clean.
Every time I would pull away.
So you can see Mama all nice and fresh.
Thing is, when it gets in your butt.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, I know that fucking feeling. Oh my god, I hate it so much. Bruh. I thought I was the only one that had to deal with that sometimes because every now and then like, when I dry myself off, because there will every now and then be occasional stray hair on the fucking, towel. It'll get back all up in there a little bit. But then when you're, like, doing a deuce and you got, like, a weird little dingle, it's not even on the hairs back there. It's on a loose fucking hair that just chilled there this entire time. Now you're just like, what the fuck? It's like, bruh. Oh, that's so shit.
It's got a lot of externals down there, too. Sometimes they'll get wrapped around your wiener.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, under
yeah,
your
dude.
ball.
Oh, my God. That is the worst because it's, like, almost like a thin, like, CIA, like, choke wire or some shit, dude. It's horrible. It's actually low-key painful if you don't, like, unwrap it. All such shit, dude. It's awful.
It's like,
Can't leave that on there.
no, you can't.
Uh-uh.
It tickles, and you can
Well,
feel
it can
it.
like constrict too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Dude, she actually understands. She sympathizes. Dude, Mama blessed to fucking Amelia, bro. She understands. She feels it. Because she probably has to deal with that bullshit whenever it kind of gets in between, like, when it comes to the female side of things, I'm sure it probably gets between the flaps a little bit sometimes or whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, for a dude, it kind of can wrap around and, like, kind of get in weird, like, thing. It's just bullshit. But, like, for a chick, I mean, it's probably even worse because then it's, like, kind of digs in between flaps and stuff, bro. I bet it's even worse in a weird way. I mean, either way, it's fucked and horrible. But it's like, I mean, the sympathy pains across the board. I mean, I feel for the women, obviously I feel for the dudes, and she understands a little bit, and I respect that, because I bet, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, dude, I bet when it comes down there for a chick, when it comes to long hair, I bet, every now and then it could be bunk as fuck, like, legit. Like, for a dude with long hair, it's bunk as fuck sometimes, because you do legit get, like, a hair down there, like, god damn it, and it gets all, like, wrapped around, tugged on there and shit. I mean, it is a hair, so you can, like, maybe, like, yoink it hard enough and rip it off, but it's, like, it's just, then you're doing, like, the CIA, like, kind of thing to your own dick or balls or whatever. It's, like, it ain't fun. But it's, like, shit, bro. It's bunk. Not bad. Imagine, depending when it comes down there, it's, like, when you, try to take it out, like that or whatever, it's just, like a fucking, rope burn, but tiny little wire status with, like, hair proteins. Just like, just burning and cutting through, dude. It's like, ugh. Ugh. It's just a, ugh.
Human body sucks.
It does.
A hair.
Can, dude. A hair can
Doesn't
fuck
that
you
happen
up.
to babies sometimes? They'll get a tiny little hair wrapped around a finger, and then all of a sudden they got a purple finger.
Bro, dude. What the fuck?
Anyway, I gotta go because I can't sit in this fucking hard as a rock chair. I need to get a cushion for this fucking chair. Just something.
Oh, poor Paul. Oh, he needs a cushion. You know what? Hey, I'll be your cushion, okay? I'll literally constrict and die. Yeah, it's a femboy 6'2" cushion. I'll be perfect because, like, your head would just, like, rest. I could just be like this and you can just rest right here. I mean, I'm a femboy, but you know what? At least I'll be a cushion. Oh, poor Paul. I like how we just basically spend the entire time just kind of chilling with him. But you know what? Paul just, like, tends to kind of, like, hook me in a lot because he's a good orator. Because I was kind of thinking about checking out some shit tonight and being like, alright, well, let's check out some stuff. But I was like, you know what? I'm kind of actually glad that, I didn't, because I wasn't really in the mood for it. I think eventually we will. So honestly, I think tomorrow we'll probably actually deep dive into it because it's the IP thing. That's what would have been if it wasn't for Puao. I mean, honestly, just because, like, there's been some wild shit going on over there, like some wild shit, and I definitely got some 2 cents, about some of that shit, and frankly, some hot takes. But I'll save that for another time. Because, being enthralled to Paul and listening to it, that's, It's got me hungry. And plus, I want to give a little Suzu a bath. And me too. Because this fucking heat with this, mild, shimmer on my fucking face and body is driving me nuts, and I feel gross because of it. So, me and Juju are going to have a nice little cold bath. And he's probably in the bathroom, locked himself in there right now, because he has refused to pop into this garage at all. I just left him in there. So, good thing, though, because he's going to feel it. He's going to feel the coolness and be a new, cleanly little boy and be all freshened up for mom. Because that's at least one of my goals tomorrow is to go see mama. How's she doing? Tell her about some of my scuttlebutt, my neck of the woods and shit. Before she wants to get into serious stuff, I'll be like, no, scuttlebutt with you. Telling you about some shit. Got feelings, got takes. Want your opinions and feelings, thoughts and shit. Because, blah, 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 blah. And actually, maybe think, I don't know. I got some, things I want to, kind of, talk to her about and be like, hey, before you talked about some serious stuff with me and how you feel about stuff, you want me to, vent for 30 minutes and you just, just commentate, but don't put your 2 cents in yet until the end, or at least until I grant maybe an okay interim. Because, I love my mama, but she always has an urge of wanting to butt in, so to speak, or, making it kind of hard to get your own 2 cents in, so I gotta at least make sure, before I delve in my own things with her, be like, hey, I get my piece. It's not like she doesn't, though, but, but sometimes you gotta kind of remind her and be like, hey, I'm here to kind of, vent here for a second. It's before we delve into, business mode, so to speak, let me do my thing, so. But I at least have a little popo, little pop-up, show up. Plus, we'll get a little free treatment and stuff right after that, and should be all good, and all nice and happy, and just a little sweet little bun. This little goof. I forgot to fucking get coconut conditioner. Not just for him, but for myself, too. Dude, coconut conditioner is so fucking amazing. I even use it as kind of like a body wash, as kind of like a little final rub down, for myself, before I leave for the shower, because I just love that coconut conditioner, dude. Coconut's awesome. I'm disappointed, Taco. But hey, he'll get his little time. He'll get all freshened up. Anyway. Let's go good for now. All that good shit. So, peace out. And see you on the next one. So, toodaloo.